A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. Larry Noble is under contract to make a picture in Hollywood for the newly organized Marco and Franklin studio. Nothing could have persuaded him to leave Mary in New York at a time like this, where she's recuperating in a hospital from the acid burns inflicted by the enraged Claudia Vincent, if he hadn't read a telegram to Mary from their friend Tom Bryson, the playwright, indicating that it was Mary's wish to have her husband leave New York. What Larry doesn't know is that Mary was only trying to spare him the agony of waiting for her to recover, and the worry of the bills that have been accumulating at such a frightening pace. Right now in Hollywood, Larry is driving home from the studio in the front seat of Sam Marco's car, as the producer drives it at a furious pace through traffic. And Larry does his best not to show his nervousness as we hear...
Too many cars on the road these days, Noble. That's the whole trouble. People crawling along and taking up the whole road. It's getting worse all the time.
Well, they're all moving along at a pretty good clip, it seems to me.
Crawling, that's all. I can't bear to go crawling along.
So I've noticed.
I like some speed. What's the good of having a special-built car that goes over 100 miles an hour if you hold it down to 30, 40?
What do you do about tickets when you spin along like this, Mr. Marco?
Tickets? I get them all the time. So what? Just pay the fine, forget all about it. You ought to get yourself a car while you're out here, my boy. Can't get along without a car.
I have one. Well, that is, Tom Bryson is lending me his for the time being.
Bryson? Now, there's a great writer. Smart as a whip.
That's right. He's written some mighty good plays.
Successful, too. Oh, he must have made a lot of money.
Well, I don't know about that. Tom doesn't hang on to money much better than I do, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's a big mistake, Noble. Easy come, easy go, sure. It's all right when it's coming in quick. But watch out for the time nobody wants you.
It's kind of a dismal warning, Mr. Marco, but I'll try to remember it.
I'm not joking.
Neither am I. That's why I'm arranging to move out of my hotel and find a small room someplace. That way I can send most of my earnings back home.
Still and all, you ought to stay at a good place. Got to keep up a front out here. Prestige.
You can't work it both ways, Mr. Marco. And I came out here to Hollywood for just one reason. Because I need to make money. Quite a lot of money. In a hurry.
Oh, that's no way to look at it, Noble. You've got a big future out here when you finish this picture. I'm talking to my partner about it right now. We'll maybe give you a good contract.
Well, that's very encouraging.
Oh, you're doing fine. I don't mind telling you straight out. I like people to know it when they're good.
Well, thanks.
Just like I told you when you came to my office. How I didn't want to take a chance with you when Tom Bryson tried to sell me. And I thought to myself, if this Larry Noble is so good, how come you're trying to peddle him to me for peanuts? Don't make sense. You understand.
Only too well.
But he says now he thinks you want to come out to Hollywood. You've turned down lots of offers before, and that makes me suspicious all over again. Maybe you're one of these temperamental artists that nothing suits them. You know what I mean?
I think so.
So I told Tom Bryson, I don't think I want to sign up any stage stars, sight unseen. But does he give up? Not him. Keeps me on the telephone. He can't get outdoors, you know, because he has a cast on his back.
Yes, I know, Mr. Marco.
The telephone, all the time. I don't like to refuse his calls, Noble, because I'm figuring maybe to use one of his stories sometime. So I talk. Finally, I say, okay, I'll sign this, Larry Noble. And that was that. I expected all kinds of trouble, especially after reading all about that murder case back in New York, with you being arrested and getting mixed up with that Claudia Vincent, who turned out to be nothing but a lowlife, and a murderer, too. Yes, sir, Noble, I didn't expect much when you got here. So I'm telling you straight out how pleased I am that it's working so good.
I'm mighty glad to hear it.
Only I still don't understand. Why was it Tom Bryson wants so much to get you out here?
Well, that's just his way. Tom's very forceful. And when he found out that it would be a good idea for me to leave New York to get into pictures for a while, he went right to work.
I'll say he did. You gave me such a sell, I thought you must be a dud.
I hope you'll have a chance to alter that opinion, Mr. Marco.
Oh, now, don't get me wrong, Noble. I told you already you're working out fine.
Good.
You've got a big future out here, and it's a lot steadier than the theater. You'll find that out.
Perhaps. I wonder if you'd mind letting me out at the next corner.
What for?
It'd be out of your way to take me to my hotel.
Where are you staying?
Beverly Hills, but I expect to move any day now.
What for? That's a good place.
Yes, I know. I'm going to look for a less expensive room. I think I explained that.
Well, it's up to you, Noble. I don't want to interfere. But, hey! What's wrong with you? Can't you look where you're going? Hopping in the back of my car. How will you look at that guy? First he runs into me, and then he races away.
You know, I have an idea that car's been following us since we left the set, Mr. Marco.
What for?
I'm sure I haven't any idea. But I've been watching him from time to time.
Oh, nerve of that guy. If I'd known that, I'd have had him run in. Oh, well, meet old kinds out here. Probably some celebrity hound. Well, so long, Noble. See you in the morning.
Right. Thanks very much for the lift.
And meantime, in her room in a New York hospital, Mary Noble is sitting up in the big chair by the window, overlooking the busy East River. And close by is her good friend Maud Marlowe, the character actress. Mary is reading from a letter, and we hear...
Work is going along pretty well at the studio, and Sam Marco seems to be well pleased. I don't know what he expected me to be like, some kind of temperamental ham, I suspect.
Ham, indeed. That man ought to be thankful for the rest of his life to get Larry Noble under contract to him. After all the offers Larry has turned down. Well, I still can't see why he suddenly decided to go to Hollywood, though.
Yes, you can, Maud. Larry was worried almost sick about debts. This is a perfect chance for him to recoup. And by the time I'm well, he'll be back on his feet again.
Well, at least you know it's your own fault that he's out there, Mary, since you arranged it all with Tom Bryson. I wouldn't have believed Larry would accept. Well, it just shows you never know about people, even your best friends. Oh, has he any more to say in the letter?
Oh, yes. Like to hear it?
Oh, if you want me to. If it isn't for your ears alone.
Oh, no, Maud. Let me see now. Where was I? Oh, yes. I'm going to start looking around for a room someplace else. Living here at this big hotel is costing me too much. And after all, I only need a place to turn in after work. Tom Bryson has turned over his car to me while he's still laid up with his injured back. I didn't like to take it, but you know how Tom is when he gets an idea. I don't know that I'll use it for anything except to drive back and forth to the studio. After all, I don't know anyone out here. The only person on the set I've talked to much is a nice young kid just making a start in pictures. She's an ambitious youngster, and her odd respect for my reputation on Broadway is rather appealing. Although it makes me feel older than Methuselah.
Who is this young worshiper? Oh, I hope Larry won't let her make a nuisance of herself.
He says her name is Dora Dean. She's only a child.
Children can be very precocious, Mary.
Oh, don't be silly, Maud. I think it's sweet of Larry to take an interest in this young girl. You know how good he is about helping others to get a start.
I certainly do. Claudia Vincent was a good example of that.
That's not fair, Maud. That was a terrible mistake. And no one knows it more than Larry.
No one should.
Maud, we've all got to forget about Claudia Vincent and everything she stood for. As far as I'm concerned, it's all part of the past. We'll start over without rancor or bitterness. Just as soon as I can leave this place.
Have you any idea when that will be, Mary?
Not exactly. But I have an idea it won't be too long. Both my nurse and Dr. Allen keep telling me how well my face and hands are healing. I haven't been allowed to see myself in a mirror yet, but I'm very optimistic. Oh, and I'm so glad that Larry seems cheerful and contented in Hollywood.
Well, I'd have thought he would be quite wretched so far away from you, at a time when there's so much to be determined.
But I didn't want Larry to feel that he had to sit here at my side. You know, there wasn't a thing he could do to help. This way he's kept busy, and he's getting rid of the awful worry of his bills. And that's important to him, Maud.
Yes, I know, Mary. But it's not the most important thing.
I don't understand why you feel that Larry has done something wrong in accepting Tom's offer of a Hollywood contract. It's what I wanted him to do. It's the only reason I wrote to Tom Bryson myself.
I know all that, my dear. But I still don't know whatever possessed Larry to accept. When he first got the offer, he said firmly that he wouldn't consider it. The next thing I knew, he was on a plane and flying to the coast. Now, just what do you suppose happened to make him change his mind?
If Mary Noble realized that her husband saw Tom Bryson's answering wire, and in that way learned that she had engineered the Hollywood offer, would she understand his sudden departure? Would she realize that he is keeping up a bitter sham of enthusiasm in his daily letters? Be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
The National Broadcasting Company at this time wishes to thank the editors and publishers of Galaxy Magazine for a special award which has just been presented to the program X-1. The award cites X-1 for the outstanding adaptation and the original method of presentation of adult science fiction stories to the vast audience that has shown increasing interest in this newest form of journalism. The NBC Radio Network is proud to receive this citation on behalf of X-1. NBC is also happy to acknowledge the enthusiastic response and support of the listening audience to this program. Your many letters of encouragement and constructive criticism are always gratefully received. Your criticisms carefully noted, and whenever possible, your suggestions acted upon. Please listen at the end of this program for a special free offer. And now, X-1.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company presents X-1.
Tonight's story, Protective Mimicry, by Algis Budrys.
Frankly, I think I'll probably have to take my expense account clear up to the Central Gallic Civil Service Board. My friends tell me to forget it. But take it from me, a rap in the credit book like this isn't easy to laugh off. Not on a grade 4 civil service pay scale. So I've made my beef out in quadruplicate and filed it. Usually a special agent in United Galactic Federation's Department of the Treasury, Investigations Division, Currency Section, doesn't have much trouble with his swindle sheet. But this one's a corker. To understand, you got to know how they make the stuff. The Ungallic Mint is in New Geneva on Canopus 3. I remember I went around with the 40 Deci credit tour when I first joined the staff. The guide was a cute little brunette from one of the Rim stars who was later fired following an annual Pan Solstice office party. I didn't pay much attention to her spiel. She was dressed in the new Neo-Minoan style, but I got the general idea.
This is a demonstration machine, of course, but you will notice the indestructible fiber coming off that spool at the right. It goes into the slot in the machine there. Now, if you'll pass along, you see it goes between those two rollers through 6 or 7 chemical baths. No, I'm not sure what chemicals. That's restricted information. It's stamped, analyzed for flaws, dyed, and then run through this unit here. This is the most carefully guarded part of the process. The unit is removed from the plant each night and locked in the deep space vault on the satellite station directly overhead. After the strip emerges here, it is chopped into convenient lengths and carefully removed into armored cars. It is called money.
What does that secret unit do?
Well, that's a very good question. You see, the currency is non-defacable, fireproof, immune to wear, weather, and water. But But the most important thing is an electronic pattern impressed into the fiber by that secret pattern. You all know when you cash a bill, it is passed over an electronic plate that reads the pattern. If the serial number and the pattern match, but if they don't, well, first I'll put an ordinary credit note over the beeper. There. Perfectly good. Now, a simulated counterfeit bill without the electronic pattern. Well, now, that wouldn't fool anybody long, would it?
Could anybody duplicate that electronic pattern?
Well, that's a very good question. Only the government has the equipment to put that in. Your currency is safe and sound. Don't you worry about that. Are there any more questions?
Yeah. How about a drink after the tour?
Well, Oh, that's a very good question.
It sure was. So was the answer. Well, getting back to money. The engraving, the chemical composition of the ink and the fiber would be tough enough to duplicate. But that electronic pattern snaps the clincher on it. That's why Chief Inspector Saxgard of my division looked sourly at me when I came into his office and spread a fistful of credit notes on his desk.
What's that?
What's it look like?
A handful of 50s. Why?
Put a couple of them over your beeper plate.
Okay. They're perfectly okay. What's it all about?
Look at the serial numbers.
3456567
Look at the others.
34565. What? Let me see them.
Save your eyes. They're all the same. 14 50-credit notes with identical serial numbers.
That's impossible.
And every one of them goes over a beeper plate quiet as a sophomore climbing into a dormitory window after hours.
Baumholzer, where did you get these?
They came into the New York Clearinghouse from a branch on Deneb 11. The manager blew his top. He called us the minute he spotted them and sent them out to us.
How about the manager? Is he blabbing all over the Bankers Club about it?
I read the Un-Gallic Riot Act to him. He'll keep it under his hat.
Good. At least we won't have any financial panics for a while. Have you checked these through the lab?
Well, the ink and paper is government stock, and they match government beepers. The lab plates didn't squawk any more than yours did. Now, you could spend these anywhere as long as you only pass them one at a time.
Baumholzer, you know, since the beeper plate came in, we've been sitting on our tails in this department, building up our pensions.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
Neither would I outside this office. But you know darn well nobody can expect to counterfeit a bill and get away with it. It's only because throughout the universe there's a certain percentage of people who will try anything once, and a corresponding percentage of purblind idiots who will accept anything with engraving on it as money that we're here at all. Now, I've seen cigar coupons and crayon sketches come into this office. I've seen premium offers from household magazines, jet bus transfers, where some people will try to pick a Yale lock with a quarter pound of butter. Now, the only reason any queer can pass is because some goggle-eyed nudnik neglects to use his beeper plate. But I worry. For 15 years, I've sat in this stinking office and waited for somebody to invent a matter duplicator.
Well, looks like you can stop worrying. Look at those bills, identical down to the whiskey stain in the corner.
All right, Baumholzer, you call transportation and get out to Deneb 11 and find out if anybody in that neighborhood has a matter duplicator, or if he hasn't, what he has got.
I picked up the department shuttle to the satellite and made fair connections up to Deneb 11. It's a 4-day run on drive, and I get free fall 6, so I was glad to hit the port in Glub, which, so help me, is the name of the only city on the place. Deneb 11 is what we call in the department a mud ball. It's a jungle world with an atmosphere like a swatch of Harris tweed. I was smoking a cigarette when I got off the shuttle, and the air I pulled in made the smoke taste like well-decayed leaf mold. I was wringing wet 2 minutes after I left the air-conditioned port. I noticed the local costume would get you arrested on any beach in the galaxy, but it didn't matter since there's nothing titillating about pasty skin dripping with weary perspiration. I checked in with the regional office and found the resident agent tinkering with his air conditioner.
Hi, Baumholzer. You know anything about the sealed power pack on this condenser?
Yeah, if you keep banging at it like that, you'll crack the seal on the atomic shielding, and your posterity will thank you. 3 heads at a time.
Oh, I guess I better not fool with it. Now, take off your pants and pull up a chair.
I don't mind if I do. Is it always this humid?
Oh, no. In the hot season, it's worse. I'd send for a replacement part, but the fax line isn't too reliable. The last time I sent for a sealed unit, they shipped back an overaged sea lion.
Yeah, I know. I was on Polar Station on Ganymede when my heater element broke down. I faxed for 3 feet of element, and they shipped me back 3 fetal elephants.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you're here about the queer bills, huh?
Yeah. Got any lines on it?
Well, my orders will lay off and let the central office handle it. Be my guest.
Any ideas?
No. Where do you figure to start?
Well, this is the only city. I'll have to check it out. Have you got a list of authorized beeper plates?
Somewhere. Let's see here. Oh, look out.
Why?
There's a whittle fly on your arm.
Hey, how does a thing that size get through the filters?
Insects on denim are tricky. This one is a non-filterable virus in the larval stage, and it blows up to this size. Carve his initials in your arm if he gets a good bite. That's why it's called a whittle fly.
The whittle fly was only one of the darlings that made the fair city of Glub a garden spot. They had one cute little tyke called the laboratory beetle, because when he bit you, he typed your blood and followed you around for days getting refills. I had one take a sample of me as I went out the door of the residency with a list of beeper plates, and he followed me from store to store while I checked every installation in the city. The little devil would step up to the bar every once and again to take another shot of my hemoglobin. I even tried ducking into men's rooms fast, but he'd be waiting for me when I came out. Well, I slogged through Glub for 3 days and then poured myself back into the residence office. Did he come in?
Who?
The laboratory beetle.
No, they usually hang around in the hall and wait. Sometimes when I've got a poker game going, you can see 3 or 4 of the little angels buzzing around outside waiting like chauffeurs outside the opera.
Wow.
You draw a blank?
Well, I found 7 defective beeper plates, but nobody remembers any queer bills being passed. You know, who checks serial numbers? They must have come in one at a time. And the clerks at the bank always were out to lunch and referred me to the next guy. You got any lotion for insect bites?
Desk drawer.
In a way, the beeper plates make it tougher. Nobody even looks at the bills anymore. Just throw them over the plate, and if no bells ring, it's okay.
Well, how about the other angle?
Matter duplicator? I checked invoices and purchase records. Nobody's been buying electronic parts that can't account for every tube. I thought I had something. One fellow bought 12 of those giant lithium cathode tubes, but it turned out his wife was having them wired as lamp bases. Well, I better be going. I hate to keep my little insect friend out there in suspense as to cocktail time.
You got another lead?
Yeah, I found a bar that makes a Tom Collins with real lemon juice instead of battery acid. I managed to duck my lab beetle in a revolving door. He went around twice and shot out into the street, so I settled down at a table at the bar and tried to make believe that I couldn't taste Den of 11 atmosphere in my Tom Collins. I was chewing on an ice cube when I looked up.
Mr. Baumholzer?
That's right.
I want to talk to you about money.
He was a terrestrial, but he'd been on Deneb a long time because he was wearing the native garment about the size of a 5-pound sugar sack. His hair, which was potato field gray, was arranged in the old-fashioned Presley style. You know, the ancient long sideburns, duck's tail in the rear that vice presidents wear in family-style banks. His ears had little bits of bone stuck in them, and his eyebrows wandered all over his face, and he stood about 6'8". And I waited him out, and presently he spoke up again.
You are the same Mr. Baumholzer who's been going around asking all those questions about duplicate ungallic notes?
That's right. Can I help you, Mr.
Munger, Duodecimus Munger.
Now, this bid's fair to be fascinating. I was under the impression that my mission here was just a wee bit on the secret side.
There are no secrets in gloves.
Now, won't you pull up a chair, Mr. Munger?
I'm afraid I haven't time.
Well, join me in a drink.
Are you really the Mr. Baumholzer that's working on this case for the Treasury Department?
Yeah, sure. Hey, you're not the fellow that's turning out these duplicates, are you?
Well, as a matter of fact, I am.
What?
And don't move. This is a Power 30 Mistral coagulator I have.
Look out with that thing. You've got it pointed at my head.
Yes, I've got it set on high charge. It will fuse your brain solid.
Well, what else is new?
Now, Mr. Baumholzer, stay right behind that table.
Now, let's not make any rash decisions now.
Well, I can't very well see how I could let you live.
Oh, come on. Try. All right, now drop the gun.
I'm afraid we'll be collecting a crowd.
Give me that. Don't try to pick it up.
I won't. I had something completely different in mind.
Just like in those ancient legends the archaeologists keep digging up, the ones with the hard-boiled detective and the beautiful blonde, I felt the traditional roof fall in on the back of my head. As I went black, I remember thinking how odd it was that it was happening to me some 500 years after Spillane the Scrivener. I came to in the same archaic fashion with my head going around in a free orbit around my neck.
Baumholzer, are you all right?
I can't see. I'm blind. Everything's black.
Well, open your eyes.
Oh. Where is he?
Who?
The guy who slugged me. What am I doing back at your office?
Oh, some bartender brought you in. I thought you passed out from too much lemon juice.
There's a guy named Munger. Which way did he go?
Beach me. Munger? Tall feller in native dress?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you might as well forget about it.
Why?
Well, I can order a pickup on him next time he's in town. They'll sock him away in a psycho ward for a while. Forget it.
Look, I am not an old lady calling up complaining that the nasty delinquents are teasing my cats. That Munger's tied in with the queer.
Him?
He said he was the passer.
Well, that can't be. Munger.
You got a file on him?
Yeah. I get a number of complaints on him, so do the local cops. Well, I didn't want to make trouble. He's a very wealthy man.
I'll bet. What does he do?
Well, he's a merchant or something at a native village. Once or twice a year he comes out and paints the town, but a counterfeiter?
I would like to talk to him again with the Mistral in my hand.
He had a Mistral? Well, that's a violation of a municipal ordinance. You're supposed to check him at the quarantine.
Look, I'm not investigating parking tickets and violations of the anti-noise laws. This is a counterfeiting case. Now, do you know where I can find him?
Well, he's probably gone back to his village.
Where's that?
Out in the jungle.
All right, get out your rubbers, friend. We're going out after him. Suppose you fill your bathtub full of mud, build a fire under it, turn on the shower, and crawl in and wallow a little. Do that, and you've got a fair idea of the Denedian jungle. I went out with Hall, the resident agent, and we started off.
Stick close, Baumholzer. Visibility is about 10 feet.
I'll eat everything I can see within 10 feet. Ow!
What happened?
I walked into a tree. Help me up out of the mud. We puddled on for a couple of hours. The rain was so thick I didn't see the trees until I bounced off of them and sat down in the warm mud. I reflected as I struggled to my feet what a terrible waste. In the beauty salons of Charles of the Ritz asteroid, ladies from all over the galaxy paid thousands of credits for hot mud baths to take the wrinkles out and make their skin smooth and caressable. And here was I getting a much more thorough treatment every time I sat down. They issue a lot of special equipment from department stores, and it all functioned perfectly. My neo-latex galoshes were fine, but stuck in the mud. My Minipower goggles and wipers kept my eyes clear, but they didn't keep me from crashing into every tree. My leak-proof sportsman's flashlight stayed dry as a bone, but powerful as it was, it couldn't light up more than 3 feet in the pelting rain. Paul, the resident, led the way, consulting a compass and a waterproof map, and finally we stopped, and I noticed that there wasn't any rain coming down on me.
It's a rain shelter. The natives build them.
Kind of them.
Well, they're on all the trails. If you go more than a day in the rain, you go punchy from water drumming on your hat.
I believe it.
Well, now, don't sit down. You'll sink in.
I don't know. Theoretically, a broader base should keep you from sinking like snowshoes.
Well, also increases the suction.
I'll stand. How far is Munger's village?
Well, either 2 miles or 22. I can't read the map very well.
Hey, wait a minute. Listen.
Well, that's the rain.
No. You hear that squelching? Somebody's coming.
Oh, yeah. From over there.
Natives?
Maybe.
There he comes.
Well, we've got first pick on the shelter. It's a native tradition. First come, first dry.
Yeah, there's somebody out there, all right.
Who's there? Who is it?
A friend of mine, Mr. Baumholzer.
All right, Munger. Where did you come from?
Don't move. I have several friends pointing long spears at your kidney.
Ole! Ole!
Shall we go, gentlemen, back to my village? I believe you were looking for it.
Munger was so intent on me that he didn't seem to notice as Hall sidled off into the darkness, and when he did, he set up a desperate cackle. He had a few of his fraternity brothers chase down the trail with spears waving wildly, but they came back murmuring some kind of a Choctaw, which seemed to carry the implication that Hall had gotten away like a big-bottomed turtle.
Well, Mr. Baumholzer, your companion's action has saved your life for a while.
Yeah, he'll bring back a platoon of Marines, and they'll reduce that village to a bullion cube.
We'll just have to hold you as a hostage in case help should arrive.
Thanks.
At any rate, shall we get back to the village?
He had about 10 natives with him, each one about 7 foot tall, with those big, flat feet that evolved on Deneb for walking in primordial ooze. They were dressed in the standard native loincloth with matching accessories, namely 10-foot spears. When, as we started out along the trail, I got a good look at Munger's loincloth, it was composed of tastefully arranged 1,000-credit notes. Well, by the time we got back to the village, the rain had stopped. The humidity, of course, was still 120%, and the only difference was that the moisture just loitered around rather than actually falling. There was some kind of a clam bake going on in the village. The natives were pounding a couple of drums, and as far as I could see, getting rapidly stinko on some kind of jungle juice that they passed around in huge gourds. They were leaping and dancing, and as far as I could tell, doing snappy sayings and fancy patter as I sat on some kind of a low mushroom and tried to ignore the 2 spears that were pressed against my throat. It felt as if a nervous barber was trying to shave me with his razor tied on the end of a 10-foot pole. After a bit, Munger strode up to me with all the dignity of the lord of the jungle, and he waved the spears a foot away, pulled up a mushroom, and sat down.
Actually, that wasn't a native rhythm at all. The original Denebian music is a kind of quiet, flute-like melody, something like Mozart.
That didn't sound very flute-like.
Yes, I know. One of the first terrestrial anthropologists out here to study the Denebs took recordings of their music, and then to be polite, he played them in a few recordings that he'd made on an earlier field trip. Unfortunately, they were from that lost rocket colony on Ceres. Their music was a degenerate ancient form called, I believe, Roland Rock. The Denebs liked it, and they've been doing it ever since.
Well, what's the party?
They're propitiating the tree. I don't know why. It's never failed yet. But they're very conservative. They've got to go into this act every night before I can do my stuff. Lasts all night. Want a drink?
No, thanks.
I wish I had a fifth of something civilized. I've been drinking this native swamp water for much too long.
He was right. They kept it up all night, and I sat trying to figure out in which hut Munger kept his machinery to make those duplicate bills. Finally, the weak light that passes for dawn on Deneb came up, and the natives quit hollering.
Let's go, sir. I hate to keep a man in suspense. You're curious about those duplicate bills. Well, now you're going to find out how it's done.
Well, it's good of you to show me. I suppose your theory is that I'll never live to tell about it.
That's very sensible of you. I like a man who can face facts.
We walked across the mud square to the base of a tremendous tree, which I gathered was the guest of honor for last night's shivaree. I still couldn't see the connection, but I was willing to wait. The natives sat around in a deathly hush, and Munger and I stepped forward.
You notice? Nothing up my sleeves. As a matter of fact, no sleeves.
And not much arm, either.
Now, I take this 50-credit note. Care to examine it?
Oh, I've seen it, and 14 others like it.
Yes, I only use a 1,000-credit bill when the natives need new loincloths. These 50s are a lot easier to dispose of.
Oh, I don't know. I traced them to you.
But that was a mistake. One of my contacts got a little greedy, spent too many bills in one place. All right. Now, I used to have the natives make a loud noise, but I'll use your gun instead here. You see, I take this bill, fold it, so, and so, and so. And there.
What are you making a paper plane for?
Just watch. I raise the note in one hand, I aim at the tree, and I fire your gun up in the air. Like this.
As he let fly with my gun, Munger sailed the paper airplane straight at the tree, and it sailed right into the foliage.
Now watch.
The bill came sailing back out of the leaves, and right behind it came another one. And then the air was filled with paper planes. Squadrons, wings, armadas of paper airplanes, each one made up of a folded 50-credit note. They sailed out over the whole village, and Munger set the natives to collecting them and bringing them back.
There you are. There'll be several thousands of them. Look.
Genuine. Absolutely genuine. And I suppose they'd go over a beeper plate without a tinkle.
Startling, isn't it?
Protective mimicry.
Yes, precisely. You know, I discovered this tree 6 years ago while I was attempting to evade the clutches of the law on a confidence rap. I swung an axe at it to blaze a trail. And 50 axes came bouncing back at me.
Well, I never heard of any plant developing mimicry to this extent. I know some plants and animals assume dangerous life forms as a camouflage, but this...
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not a botanist. All I know is that you scare the tree with a loud noise. You throw something at it, and it duplicates what it thinks is the danger. Well, speaking of danger, it doesn't look as if your colleague is bringing any help. Oh, I'll miss your company. Interesting. You'll be shot with your own gun.
Now, look, Munger.
Don't wriggle. I hate a moving target. What is that?
Looks like the cops, Munger, at the edge of the village.
Home holster, where are you?
We outnumber them.
Oh, Leon!
I'll get you anyway.
No.
You can't run away from me. I'll shoot.
I broke for the other side of the square, and just as he shot at me, I tripped over a pot and went flying smack into the tree. Well, that's about it. Here we sit in the spaceport on Deneb 11, and I'm darned if I'll pay our transportation back until I hear that the office is going to okay my expense account. Munger? Oh, he's in jail at New Alcatraz. Once he missed a shot at me, it was all over. After I fell into the tree, he didn't stand a chance against us. That's right. Us. All 168 of me. Right, Ed?
Right.
You have just heard X-1.
Here is an important special announcement. In appreciation of bringing adult science fiction to the listening audience through the medium of this program, X-1, Galaxy Magazine wishes to make the following free offer to our listeners. For the first 2,500 who write in requesting it, we will send a sample copy of Galaxy Magazine at absolutely no cost. This is an opportunity to read the finest in adult science fiction, just as you listen to it each week here on X-1. To get your free sample copy of Galaxy, just write a postcard or letter to X-1, NBC, Radio City, New York 20, New York, and ask for your free copy. Be sure to print your name and address plainly on your card or letter. This offer can be made only once, so if you want your own free copy of this leading science fiction publication, be sure to write without delay. Here is the address again. Write to X-1, NBC, Radio City, New York 20, New York. Your sample copy of Galaxy will be sent to you without obligation of any kind.
Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Protective Mimicry, written by Algis Budrys, and adapted for radio by Ernest Kanoy. Featured in tonight's cast were Mandel Kramer, Terry Keane, Charles Penman, Dick Hamilton, and Wendell Holmes. This is Roger Tuttle. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Remember, for your free sample copy of Galaxy, just send a postcard to X-1, NBC, Radio City, New York 20, New York. Now be sure to print your name and address plainly on your card. This offer can be made only once, so if you want your own free copy of this leading science fiction publication, be sure to write without delay. The address again, X-1, NBC, Radio City, New York 20, New York. The Roaring Twenties in song and story. Hear Gordon MacRae in The Best Things in Life Are Free tonight.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, Colony, by Philip K. Dick.
The existence of Planet Blue, the fourth in orbit around a G-type sun somewhere in the Aldebaran sector, was predicted by spectroscopic analysis and spatio-mathematic equations some 50 years before an exploring mission was dispatched to it. The research team, under Commander Stella Morrison of the Colonial Administration, went into orbit around Planet Blue at 0700 Standard Sidereal Time. Authorized procedures were followed.
Aerial photography completed, Commander.
Anything show on the plates?
Well, Masterson was suspicious of these lines towards the poles, but the angles seemed to be coincidence.
They're not artifacts.
Glacial faults. Geological survey reports no volcanism.
Mm-hmm.
The launch is back. Dodge has a landing site pinpointed. Preliminary atmospheric tests look good. There's a 0.7 bulge in oxygen, but it's just enough to make you feel good. Looks like an open-air job. No pressure suits or condenser masks.
Well, that's precisely what they thought on Centauri 1. And the whole expedition was wiped out by spores.
Of course, I was assuming a favorable biocheck.
Mm-hmm.
Preliminary photographic survey, Mr. Wood.
Thank you, Dodge.
You want them played back here? We haven't transcribed the tape.
If you please, Lieutenant.
393. Al, pipe the photo tapes up here on 324.
Looks like a green world, all right. Punch up the tape, if you please, Lieutenant.
All orbital checks proved positive. The atmosphere and gravity Earth normal to 3 places on the Grayson scale. And the exploratory research ship, lowered itself by the Meyerson-Lay atmospheric skip method, came into a stalled tail landing just before sunset on a day marked in the logs as Planet Fall 0. The hatches remained sealed as a 2-mile perimeter was scanned by direct instrumentation. Major Lawrence Hall of Biosurvey reported EEG sweeps to the bridge.
Of course, it isn't conclusive. We've run into life forms that didn't broadcast a brainwave at all. The Grylodon lizard on Ganymede. Skull acted as an effective shielding due to a heavy lead constituent in the body chemistry.
Major Hall, I am not interested in a lecture on extraterrestrial zoology. Is there or is there not life within the range of your instruments?
I'm sorry, Stella. The readings show no electrical brain activity whatsoever, and that covers life down to the level of invertebrates. There may be a few worms turning out there, and unless they are thinking awfully hard about something, we wouldn't pick them up.
Well, thank you. I want preliminary drones out for sampling. How long do you think that will take?
Well, a thorough job. Take about 2 weeks.
I have a schedule, Major. How long do you can give me a protective Schedule C clearance?
2 days. Then I ought to check airborne spores and microorganisms.
Carry on, Major.
All right, Stella. I'll let you know if I turn up any, special diseases on Planet Blue.
Drone sample missiles were dispatched at sunrise. Air scoops, ground samplers, and vegetation choppers returned to base, and the bio team instituted full prescribed tests. Immediately identifiable airborne dangers were ruled out. Outside of the possible allergenic action of pollens, Planet Blue was ruled safe for normal exploratory procedures, and the real work of the survey was gotten underway.
Here's the morning report, Commander. 4 in sick bay, 3 ordered to light duty.
What happened?
Well, last night was liquor ration.
Oh.
Survey teams out in the field. Bio crew under Major Hall. Agronomy, ecological, geological, and deep map teams out.
Any reports back?
Deep map seems to think there's petroleum over to the north, and agronomy reports if you dropped a seed in this soil, you'd have to jump back to keep from being knocked over by the plant.
Sounds pretty good.
Commander, Blue is about as likely a spot for colonization as has been turned up since Harvey's planted in 27.
Well, they'll be glad to hear that in Central. How long do you think until we can send back a clearance?
I've checked with department chiefs. They all estimate about 2 or 3 days more until they're satisfied. All except Bio.
Why is Major Hall dragging his feet?
I don't know.
Well, find out. And in the meantime, I'm going to call a staff meeting. Every day we can save on our report is important. If Blue is suitable for colonization, I don't want to waste a minute.
By planetfall plus 3 weeks, all departments had reported favorably except biology. Ecological survey pointed out the difficulty involved in the necessity of importing animal life. But this problem had already been met in the colonization of Gamma 2 and 3, when an entire ecology had been transported in frozen gene banks and fertilized and incubated on the site. Biology, however, still withheld a favorable report.
Look, Larry.
What is the secret, Stella? Cold formality on the bridge and Larry when you're in my lab?
Well, I'm serious. Well, I've just gotten an official query from Central. They want to fish or cut bait on Blue. Your department is the only one holding it up. We're 2 weeks behind schedule.
And the first colony on Vishnu was right on schedule, and 7,000 died of green spot.
That was before the full bio-check technique was worked out.
My dear, do you know how many different microorganisms there are in a cup full of dirt?
I'm not a freshman student of biology.
Oh, dear. And I was hoping I could tempt you into some field work.
Someday, Larry, you're going to make some remark in front of some junior officers or even enlisted personnel, and I'm going to have to call you on it.
Afraid for your dignity, my dear?
Look, I'm in charge of this expedition. My dignity happens to be a function of command, and as such, it's a survival factor.
Ah, well, then you had better take it easy at officers' mess. You know, I saw 2 biomates watching you, climbing the ladder to the bridge. Do you know what their affectionate name for you is?
Major Hall. I'm serious. I want a bio clearance as soon as possible.
And you will get it. As soon as possible.
And when will that be?
When I'm satisfied.
Are the bugs here so dangerous that you're afraid of them?
No, on the contrary. We have yet to find a harmful life form.
Well, you didn't report that. If there are no harmful life forms...
No lice. No disease germs. No malignant virus.
Well, then what are you waiting for?
There should be. There should be at least one little fellow who could give you a common cold.
Look, sociology section found no native narcotic plant life. And inasmuch as there is no humanoid life, there is no bootlegging, gambling, immorality, and pornography either. By analogy, that would be a good reason not to colonize. Is that the idiotic logic you're following?
Microbiology is a little different, Stella. And anyway, what is the rush? Blue is something different. There's something peaceful in the air. Why rush to bring picnickers who drop candy wrappers and fill the pools up with empty beer cans?
Larry, I have a planned board conference in 10 minutes. If you don't bring in some kind of a report by then, I'll have to supersede you under a Section 23.
Ah, yes, that's what happened on Vishnu, isn't it? Followed by Green Spot and the wagons to drag the corpses out of the colony streets.
Never mind that, Major. I want a report.
In the biology section lab, Major Lawrence Hall continued to examine tissue samples from lower fauna and flora samples brought in from Planet Blue. He settled a container of prepared slides and flipped the switch on the electron microscope. Major Hall slid the first slide on the stage of the microscope and adjusted the focus knob.
Come on. Huh, there you are. All right, come on, kid, eat something.
The microorganisms, a form of rotifer, displayed none of the characteristics of ferocity and aggression which were normal on several dozen other planets. Presently, however, Major Hall stopped whistling. Inasmuch as the two eyepieces of his microscope twisted suddenly around his windpipe and started to strangle him.
Ooh.
Hall tore it, but they dug relentlessly into his throat, steel prongs closing like the claws of a cat. With a convulsive effort, he managed to break free and fling the microscope from him.
Oh, that's crazy. It's gonna let go of my leg.
He kicked the microscope loose and drew his blaster. As the microscope scuttled away, rolling on its coarse adjustment knobs, he fired. The microscope disappeared in a cloud of metallic particles. The plans board of the research team was assembled in the officer's library. Commander Stella Morrison was outlining plans on a detailed aerial survey map.
This long, flat area is ideal for the actual city. It has an adequate watershed in the hills here, and weather conditions vary sufficiently to give the settlers something to talk about. There are large deposits of various minerals. The colonists can set up their own factories. They won't have to do any importing. Over here is the biggest forest on the planet. If they have any sense, they'll leave us, but if they want to make newspapers out of it, that's not our concern. Now, all reports are in except bio, and I think that before long we'll be getting...
Stella!
Major Hall, may I remind you that when the consul is in session, no one is permitted to interrupt...
Come to my lab. Look, Hall, if you're not feeling well, you look a little sick.
Yes, well, I should be. My microscope just tried to strangle me.
Oh? Oh, I see.
They almost got me, but I blasted it. But that's not the worst.
It isn't?
No. The microscope is still there. After I blasted it, I found it under the lab bench, untouched.
Look, Major, you sure you don't need a psych test?
Well, I don't know. I suppose it does sound a little...
You look post-trauma to me.
Huh? Oh.
Well, you're right.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Commander.
Put Major Hall on psycho report. I think we'll have to proceed to order colonization here without him.
Major Hall proceeded to Psych Center, and inserting his ID card in the robot Neo Rorschach machine, he placed his hands on the contacts and activated the search and gestalt circuits. Presently, the green light flashed, indicating tentative diagnosis. Major Hall hit the response key.
Severe disturbance. Instability ratio above 10.
And that's over danger, isn't it?
Yes. 8 is danger. 10 is unusual, especially for a person of your index. Your norm is 4.
Yeah, I know.
I require more data to determine whether this unusual instability ratio is an aberrant reaction or is normal survival oriented.
Well, I can't tell you anymore.
It is illegal to hold back information during a robo-psych test. You will deliberately distort diagnosis, which is punishable by 6 months forfeiture of pay and allowances, or such other penalty as a court-martial may direct.
Thanks a heap. Look, do you record a high degree of unbalance for me?
There is a high degree of psychic disorganization, but what it signifies, or its etiology, I am unable to determine without further data.
Okay, well, just take a tip from me. Stay away from homicidal microscopes.
That is an interesting Freudian slip. You undoubtedly mean homicidal maniacs, not microscopes. This indicates a possible maladjustment in the area of your specialty.
Why don't you go grease your id?
I will consider that suggestion.
Major Hall returned to the biosection lab and tested the atmosphere near the place where he had fired his blast gun at the microscope. The analysis showed a high density of metallic particles colloidally suspended in the air. In a state of confusion, with an emotional distress quotient of at least 0.742, he stripped off his uniform and entered the shower.
Oh, well, you can't expect anybody to believe a story like that. I must be off my rocker.
Major Hall stepped out of the shower. reached for one of the towels on the rack. The towel wrapped around his head and yanked him against the wall. Rough cloth pressed over his mouth and nose. He fought wildly, pulling away. All at once, the towel let go. Major Hall crawled out of the shower and proceeded to dress. His belt, heavy canvas with reinforced metal links, tried to get him around the waist and crush him. The belt, being a heavy-duty issue, was strong, and they rolled on the floor until Hall was able to reach his blaster. He threw himself down in a chair to regain his breath. The arms of the chair started to close around him, but this time he was ready.
Major, I don't believe you were announced.
Look, Commander. Stella.
You're armed. You know the regulations
I'm sorry, Stella. This is important.
Well, what do you want? I have a report here from the robo-psych tester. It says you've hit a ratio of 10 within the last 24-hour period. We've known each other for a long time. Larry, what's happening to
Stella,
you?
I told you. A little while ago, my microscope tried to strangle me. Then when I was getting out of the shower, a bath towel tried to smother me. I got by that. And while I was dressing, my belt...
Wood, in here on the double.
And I finally blasted that. And then an armchair besides. Yes, Commander.
Stand by a moment.
Stella, will you listen to me? This is serious. Ordinary objects suddenly turning lethal. Maybe this is what we've been looking for. Maybe this is...
Your microscope tried to kill you?
I told you, its stems got me here around the windpipe.
No one else saw this happen?
No. I blasted it, and then I found it again, perfectly all right.
I see. Wood.
Yes, ma'am.
Get 2 guards and take Major Hall down to Captain Taylor in sick bay. Have him confined until he can be sent back to Terra for examination.
Listen, Stella...
Sorry, Major. You can't prove this story, and we'll just have to assume it's a psychotic projection on your part. And we can't afford to have any psychotics running around loose on this planet. Wood, carry on.
You'll be all right, Hall. Back on Earth, they can clear a thing like this up in a few weeks.
Yeah, maybe you're right, Wood. Maybe I'm just out of my mind.
Here we are. Captain Taylor. Captain Taylor. He should be in. Captain. The hatch isn't locked.
Taylor, what's the matter? That scatter rug is choking him. Take it in and pull. But quick before he's crushed. Grab that rug.
Now hear this. General alarm. General alarm. Emergency stations. Emergency stations. Condition red. Sidearms will be issued to all personnel. General alarm.
Captain Taylor tells me the rug came from Terra. His grandmother braided it.
That's what I was trying to tell you. It was not the rug that attacked him.
Then what was it?
Something that looked like this rug. And it was something that looked like a microscope that went for me. And the towel and the belt.
You mean there's some life form that can imitate anything?
Yes, it seems so. And it's deadly.
Hey, Charlie, general alarm. Get up out of that sack. Hey, what'd you do with my gloves? Oh. Hey, where'd I get 2 pair? Well, meeny, miny, mo. 1 pair of gloves is the same as the other. Hey, these gloves are moving. How do you like that? These fool gloves are going for my blast pistol. Charlie, is this one of your crazy electronic gags? Did you rig my gloves? Hey, look out for that pistol! Look out!
Commander, there's another casualty. Lieutenant Dodds.
What happened?
I don't know. He seems to have shot himself.
Oh, no.
Stella, I think that I have something.
Dodds is dead.
Look, we know that this thing can camouflage itself. It can imitate any object it leans up against. All right, now, listen to this.
Larry, we've got
This is the answer. It's a tape from Captain Galt. He was out on bio-survey. He had a throat mic on. He was talking to the operator at base. Now, listen to this.
Head for home now. What's this emergency about? Hourglass Stella having hysterics? That's funny. Could swear I parked my bucket over by those trees. Well, it's here anyway. Heat up some coffee for me. I'll be in a couple. Yeah, that's funny. There's another bucket over by the trees. Where'd this one come from? Let me out. The thing's stuck. It's folding up around me. Joe, get a squad out here. Joe, acid. I can't get out. It's digestive fluid. Get somebody out here before.
His transmission just stopped. All right, now we're up against some organic form of life, and there should be some way to destroy it. We've already blasted a few, but we don't know how many more there are. Maybe it's an infinitely divisible substance, some kind of protoplasm.
We've had over 12 casualties reported, and there's still 5 teams out in the field.
All right, it's a lethal life form. Now, that explains why we found everything else harmless. Nothing could compete with this. We have mimic plants of our own, the twisty slug on Venus, but nothing that goes this far.
It can be killed, though. You said that yourself.
If it can be found. You can't tell. Clothes, rugs, drapes, chairs. We can't tell which is which. We've got to try to find some poison, some spray that will destroy them wholesale.
Oh, no.
What's the matter?
In the corner. I never noticed 2 briefcases over there before. There was only one, I think. How are we going to know?
Shortly after the final casualty report of 30 dead and 12 wounded, Major Hall sealed off the bio quarters and moved in with a team from Chem Section, all dressed in corrosive-resistant suits.
Well, I'll make sure that you've got a tight seal on the neck joint.
What are you going to do, Major?
I've got a combination of hydrogen and arsenic under pressure, arsine gas. That'll give us an idea of how much they've infiltrated. Arsine is deadly to humans, so check your helmets. Now, Sergeant, I don't want any panic blasting. Arsine is inflammable. All right. Release the valve.
As the gas filled the room, the first to go was a filing cabinet, which melted and oozed to the floor, followed by pipettes, Bunsen burners, bell jars, and test tubes. The lab was sealed off and a meeting held in Commander Morrison's quarters.
Well, it's protoplasm, all right. You could see that when the mimic shape melted. It was a cell nucleus as big as your hand. They resembled the simple unicellular protozoa. Of course, gigantic in size compared to microorganisms.
Can we spray them?
Arsine disturbed them. And I suppose enough might kill them. But we haven't got that much. We can't flood the planet. We wouldn't be able to use our blasters, and it's lethal to humans.
We'll have to pull out.
Stella, I'm afraid you don't quite understand. We can't take the chance of carrying them back to the system disguised as a boot or a towel or anything. And they seem to multiply by binary fission. It wouldn't take long to overrun Earth and the rest of the system.
If we stay here, they'll pick us off one by one.
We could have arsine brought in or some other poison, but that would destroy most of the other life on the planet along with it.
Then we'll have to burn the planet clean. Wood?
Yes, ma'am.
Set up a call to system monitor. I'm going to get the unit off here out of danger. After that, we can work out the best way of cleaning off this planet.
You'll run the risk of taking them back to Terra.
Can they imitate higher life forms? Can they masquerade as humans?
Apparently not. They seem to be limited to inorganic subjects.
Then we'll go back without any inorganic material.
But our clothes, they can imitate the synthetic fibers, belts, gloves, boots.
We're not taking our clothes. We're going back without anything at all.
Oh, I see.
Get me a beam to central monitor immediately.
The nearest cruiser was 2 light hours away, Captain Daniel Davis commanding. Tight beam communication was established after coordinates were flashed from central monitor.
This is Captain Davis. Can you read me?
I read you. Commander Morrison here. Captain, you are to make a planetfall as soon as possible at coordinates to be supplied you. We are going to board your ship naked.
Naked?
That's right.
That's, well,
When will you land?
at about 1,500 hours, I'd say.
Captain, would it be possible for your men to...
I'll have my crew below decks. We'll land on robot control.
Thank you. Wood, sign off the transmission.
Yes, ma'am.
There was some objection among the enlisted personnel, particularly in the women's quarters. The ship landed at 1,200 hours, 3 hours sooner than expected.
All hands disrobe immediately. All personnel report to field, ready to embark.
So soon? I didn't hear the ship land.
It's there, all right. We'd better go. Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Larry, you go ahead. I'd rather get ready alone.
Parked in the center of the landing field was a cruiser, its hull pitted and dented by meteor strikes. It lay motionless, with no sign of life aboard. A crowd of naked people was moving across the field, blinking in the bright sunlight. Commander Stella Morrison, without any sign of rank apparent, paused on the ramp and spoke to Major Lawrence Hall beside her.
Larry.
Yeah? What is it?
I'm scared.
Why?
I don't know.
Psychological reaction. Forget it. It's a reaction to nudity carried over from early childhood. Come on, we're holding up the line.
Larry, I want to go back.
Stella, look. Now, at least Davis kept his promise. There are no enlisted men lining the hatches to enjoy the view. You see? It's dark in there. There's nothing to worry about. Come on. Up you go.
The last of the research team filed into the interior of the ship, and the hatch closed behind them. At exactly 1,500 hours, Captain Daniel Davis landed his ship in the center of the field. Automatic relays opened the main lock hatch and lowered the ramp. Davis and his staff sat in the control cabin waiting.
Well, how do you like that? Where are they? Well, maybe the whole fool thing is a joke. We've waited an hour already.
They waited. And waited. But no one came.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Double Dare by Robert Silverberg, which demonstrates that pride can lead to much worse than a fall. It can put a man out on a limb and keep him there. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Colony, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Philip K. Dick and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Frederica Chandler, John Larkin, James Stevens, Larry Robinson, Bill Quinn, and Alan Bergman. Your narrator was Norman Rose. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production. Hear music in the Morgan manner. Russ Morgan, live weekday mornings on NBC Bandstand.
Jerry and Joan are in a Euclidean submarine on their way to aid in the capture of Johnson and the Gregory rescue boat. Captain Bradford and Mrs. Gregory have been left on the captive yacht, inside of one of the submarine locks on the Magic Island. They have just heard a radio message from Jerry to Johnson, advising Johnson to bring his boat to the island at once. Knowing this means Johnson's immediate capture, Mrs. Gregory and the captain are sure Jerry is being compelled to send the message by someone aboard the submarine. Just as the captain and Mrs. Gregory start to do something about it, they hear a rush of water. Captain Bradford runs out on the yacht deck and sees water pouring into the lock.
Hurry up, Pat. Get out here quick. We've got to leave this boat.
What's the matter, Tex? That water rushing. Is it... The lock gate's broken.
Yeah, our only chance to is to find in this yacht and run up that ramp to the inside chambers of the island.
Oh, but this boat will be ruined and all our equipment's on board.
Can't help it, dear. Come on. This place will be flooded in a few minutes. The rate that water's coming in.
But I don't see how it happened. That gate doesn't look...
Never mind how the gate looks, Pat. Come on. We've got to get out of here.
All right, Tex. We have to walk on this narrow little rock ledge here.
We do, and be glad to get it. Come on.
This noiseless paint on everything. I'm getting as bad as Jerry. I could only hear some noise when I walk.
Yes, well, at least Jerry and Joan are better off than we are now. They're underwater, but they're in a boat that was made to be there.
Right here, Tex, was where the door opened when G-47 came through it.
It won't be so simple for us to open one. No, I think it was further back up this ramp.
No, Tex, I was watching as he went back out the door. And that light, that bracket on the wall, was on the other side of him.
Well, hold on, then. You mean that as you looked up here from the deck of the yacht, G-47 was between you and this light?
Yes, I'm sure of it. He made such a weird figure as he stood silhouetted against that light.
And the door is near here somewhere. We'd better not be too long finding it. The rate the water's rising.
We can try pushing on this wall. Right here, I think.
No good. Things on this island don't work automatically. They don't work at all. We've got to figure how to get out of here pretty fast, or that water...
Tex, the water isn't rising anymore.
Huh? What? Not rising?
No, it's nearly still now.
But it couldn't have stopped. We're 50 feet below the water level now, with the whole island submerged. What could stop the water after the lock gate broke?
I don't know, but you can see for yourself. The roofs of the cabins haven't touched the top of the lock yet, and they were only a few feet below it to start with.
Right, Pat. Only about 2 or 3 feet of water came into the lock when the gate broke, and that's funny. I wonder.
What, Tex?
That's it. The island is rising again. That lock gate must be up to the water level now. Come on, let's go back down on the deck where we can take a look at it.
But why isn't the light showing through the broken gate if we're above water?
Because it's a couple of hours yet until daylight. Come on, we'll go back down and have a look at that gate.
All right. Like Jerry, I'm glad to hear our shoes make some noise.
Sounds like home, all right. Now, come on up the stern, Pat.
Captain.
There's the skipper, Tex. I thought he and the engineer had been taken to one of the cells on the island.
Well, he's here now. He didn't try to get out of this thing like we did. Something funny here.
Yes, Skipper? What is it?
Gates.
We saw the gate breaking.
No.
But we did, Skipper. The gate broke and the water rushed in.
No.
That gate didn't break?
No.
Well, what happened then?
Opened.
The gate opened?
So, it wasn't an accident then. Our dear friend G-47 must have decided we'd been around here long enough.
Not that, Tex. If someone had tried to drown us, the water wouldn't have stopped as it did.
How about it, Skipper? You seem to have kept your head and found out a few things. What stopped the water?
Gate.
The gate was closed again?
But there must be some idea back of all this. These Euclideans are too busy now with the fleet of battleships playing around overhead and Jerry and Joan out in one of their submarines. No, it doesn't make sense for them to stop and fool with these lock gates.
Come.
Skipper's got something to show us.
When we sign him on for the next cruise, it's going to be in his articles that he add a few more words to his vocabulary. Guessing what he means is getting on my nerves.
Oh, steady, Pat, now. Skipper's all right. Maybe he doesn't talk much because he hears the rest of us talk too much.
Look.
Tex, the skipper's right. The gate hasn't been broken at all.
That's plain enough, but why was the water turned in here?
Look.
Where?
There.
Down in the water?
I can't see much. Dark down there. Got a flashlight, Skipper?
Here.
Thanks. Now, then we'll have a look.
Well, I can't see anything down there.
There.
Oh, Tex, I see it. It's a fish, a big one.
Silver-colored. Peculiar shape, isn't it? Biggest fish shaped like that I ever saw. What is it, Skipper?
Torpedo.
What?
Torpedo.
Torpedo, eh?
Aye.
Then we're on the wrong boat. That thing's going to go off when it jars against this yacht.
Dud.
You mean the torpedo is dead? It won't go off?
Aye.
I'm beginning to see this thing now. Skipper, did you see that torpedo come in here?
Aye.
Was it an accident?
Nope.
But how could a torpedo be brought in here?
Magnetism.
Oh, then the Euclideans knew just what was going on.
Of course. I don't know why, but I can guess who. G47.
Precisely.
Oh, you startled me, coming out of the wall like that.
So you tried a little experiment on us, eh?
You were not considered.
I'll say we weren't. We might have been drowned.
That would have been no loss to me. But your destruction has no value in this plan. I merely wanted this torpedo, a stray shot from the fleet overhead.
You used your magnets to pull this torpedo in here after it was shot in target practice?
Precisely. I wanted to examine this type of projectile. I will send my assistants for it. You may follow me if you care to see what is happening in the submarine.
Tex, we can go and see what Jerry and Joan are doing.
Yeah, we'll take him up on that. See you later, Skipper.
Why, there's a door in this wall within arm's length.
Now, here, step over the rail carefully, Pat. You better hurry and not get too far behind old G47.
I don't like to just sit here and do nothing while that girl commander does as she pleases with the submarine.
It will do you no good to attempt interference, Jerry. We are comparatively safe only so long as you restrain yourself from well-intentioned, though ridiculous and quite obvious approaches to the subject of possible intervention in this Euclidean plan.
Hey, quit talking like that. I got enough of a headache now without any big words. We've got to figure what to do when we get under Johnson's boat with this submarine.
I can use little words as well as you, Jerry. You are a fool.
I'm a witch?
There is no shorter word for that. You are a fool.
Hey, how come?
You know that every word you say is being heard by the commander up there in the central control section. Why do you persist in talking?
Oh, because this gets my goat. Skip it. I know it's slang, but when I'm excited, I have to think in slang to get anything done. All this mysterious stuff. Here we are in a submarine 100 feet long with a crew of one man and a beautiful girl in command.
So you do think she's beautiful, do you?
Well, I've got good eyes. Even if she is a Euclidean, she's a peach.
A peach? Jerry, she is not a peach.
Enough of this ridiculous discussion. Silence, both of you. I wish the communication channels clear.
I'm sorry, Commander. Okay.
Now, Jerry, you must sit quietly and say nothing more until given permission. I warned you that our conversation could be heard all over the boat.
And is all that really coming from a submarine, G47?
Precisely.
We could hear them as plainly as if they were in this room. Yet they weren't deliberately using a microphone.
On Euclidia, we have ways of hearing anything we wish to hear.
Yes, I believe it. Well, as long as that girl skipper won't let the kids talk, nothing of interest for us to hear. Let's go back to the yacht, Pat.
Yes, even though it's helpless in a lock under 50 feet of water, I feel more comfortable there than here.
Well, thanks for the show, G47. Will you excuse us now?
No, I will not. Come here. I want you to observe something.
You mean look in that prism reflector on your desk?
Precisely.
What's the use, Tex? You were fooled once by that thing.
Yeah, so I might see something anyway. Let's have a look.
I will enlarge this image for you. You will be interested in seeing the interior of the submarine from which you just heard. Look. Look.
Why, Tex, it's the inside of a submarine.
Don't get excited, Pat. We're 8 fathoms below the water level. So is the sub. And they're miles from here. Now, don't let it fool you.
But, Tex, look, Jerry and Joan inside the submarine. It's as clear as a photograph of them.
Yeah? Well, maybe this look is on a level. Yes, sir. Look. You can even see the expressions on their faces. Jerry doesn't look any too happy, does he?
You heard that woman commander tell him to be quiet. That's quite a punishment for Jerry.
Commander seems to be busy with the controls. Wonder what's going on.
Silence. The commander is about to communicate with me.
May we watch the image while you do your stuff?
You may, and you will notice the clarity of objects within the submarine, the perfection of the voice reception here. The television engineers in your world are hopelessly behind Euclidia.
Watch this, Pat. We're really seeing things now.
Commander S1 reporting to G47. 20 miles off Euclidia. Course due north, 25 knots, S1.
Your progress and course satisfactory, S1. Report on position of battleships near you.
Gee whiz, I heard G-47.
Yes, Jerry, of course.
Did you get that, Pat? The kids are hearing G-47.
Hey, Joan, I heard Captain Bradford.
Yes, the captain must be in the communication chamber. And my mother also.
Yes, Joan. Mother can hear you, dear.
Oh, Jerry, did you hear my mother?
Commander, you will take steps to secure silence on board?
Correct, G-47. I will have silence.
Look out, Joan. She's going to use a ray gun.
It will be useless to try to avoid it, Jerry.
Say, if she hurts those kids...
Oh, Tex.
Silence.
Tex, look at the reflector. Jerry has fallen to the floor of the submarine.
I can hear you, Mother. Do not fear for us. We will be...
Now, there's no reason for what she's doing to those kids.
Silence.
There is silence on my command now, G-47. Will report on battle fleet. 12 major units are taking part in maneuvers. 4 heavy cruisers doing long-range fire. 4 destroyers acting as enemy scouts.
When Mrs. Gregory and Captain Bradford were taken into the communication chamber on the 5th level of the Magic Island, they saw something almost unbelievable. From G-47's prism reflectors, they have actually seen the inside of a submarine many miles away, in which Jerry and Joan are being taken to witness the capture of Johnston's boat. The Euclideans have perfected television, as they have everything else, and Mrs. Gregory and the captain were forced to see and hear everything, as the submarine commander turned her ray guns on Joan and Jerry to silence them. The rays were only sleep-producing ones, however, and as we look into the submarine, we find Jerry and Joan just recovering from the effects.
I told you, Jerry, not to talk so much.
Well, anyway, we both got put to sleep with that ray gun, and I'm getting tired of falling over whenever one of these Euclideans feels like watching me take a tumble.
Now, Jerry, please do not make remarks about the Euclideans. The Commander S1 can hear all we say, and so can SE1, the engineer. You are only making it more difficult for us.
You are right, Cleostra. I have found that you two are not entirely trustworthy, however, and must now take further precautions to ensure your remaining quietly in the stern while I continue my observations here.
What's she going to do with us now?
Silence. You, Cleostra, will open the small cabinet on your left. You will sponge the hands and shoes of young Hall and yourself with the liquid from the cabinet.
Hey, wait a minute. Do you know what that stuff is?
Yes, Jerry. It is the magnetic paint, and once we have it on, we cannot move while the commander keeps the magnets active in this section.
Oh, so. My girlfriend, the commander, is just as tough as anybody else from that crazy island.
I warned you, Jerry. Commander S1 is a Euclidean.
Gee, a beautiful girl like that with just a number for a name. What a life.
I wish you would not keep calling her a beautiful girl.
Well, she is. I don't care if she is plenty tough with us. That don't spoil her looks any. She's a swell-looking girl.
She is not a girl. She's terribly old, Jerry.
Huh? How old?
22 years.
Gee, 22. Is she really?
Yes, Jerry. She was given this command on her 21st birthday, nearly 2 years ago.
Gosh, that lets her out then. 22 is pretty old.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, Jerry. 15 is a nice age, is it not?
Yeah, it's all right. Kind of young, though. But by the time I'm 21, you'll be 20. That won't be so bad. Oh, but I guess we'd better quit talking about her. She can hear all we say, and she's liable to crack down on us again.
No, Jerry. S1 has closed the transparent housing around the central control chamber. We're quite free to talk now.
But we can see her just as plain as day.
That is more of the transparent steel, and transparent from either side. S1 can see us as well as we see her.
Then we'd better be careful not to make faces at her. Can she tell us she switched on the microphones in this end of the sub so she can hear what we're talking about?
Yes, Jerry. That large green tube at her right will glow when the microphones are active, and the red tube when the transmitter is working.
Boy, what a setup. And to think your mother and Tex really saw us and heard us way out here on this boat.
They will be very worried about us, Jerry, if they were watching when the commander used the ray gun on us.
Oh, don't worry so much. Your mother and Tex Bradford are a couple of the smartest people I ever saw. And if they saw us get laid out with those ray guns, you can bet they kept right on looking till they saw us wake up again.
I hope you are right, Jerry.
Hey, I'm always right. Pretty near.
Yes, Jerry.
Okay. Now let's quit jabbering about nothing and get down to brass tacks.
Brass tacks?
Oh, I mean, let's get down to business. Talk about what we're going to try to do and how we're going to do it when we get to Johnson's boat.
I think it will be quite useless to plan anything. We will just have to wait until the occasion arises and then take the course which appears most suitable under the conditions existing at the moment.
Boy, I got that one. We wait for the breaks and then jump in, huh?
Jump in the breaks?
Oh, you're getting in my hair. Look, and listen. I mean, we'll do what we think is best when we get a chance to do anything.
I think it would be better to sit quietly and wait for the commander's orders. There is nothing of value that we can do, Jerry.
Oh, don't be too sure about that. For one thing, you ought to know how they handle these subs. So, well, what will the commander do when we get near Johnson's boat?
She will order Johnson to surrender.
Oh, swell. But what then? Suppose Johnson does surrender. How do we get his boat to the island?
If he refuses to run his boat to Euclidia, S1 will sink it with all on board.
Oh, no, she won't. G47 wants the scientific apparatus and Captain Bradford's materials on board that boat.
You may be right, Jerry. G47 wants those things badly, and the commander will make every effort to get the boat to Euclidia.
But what if Johnson refuses to give up the boat?
He will not refuse. Remember that you told him to come to the island when the commander made you send the message.
Yeah, but I stuck a few words in that message so Johnson will know things aren't so good with us. And for the homing pigeon is on his way to Johnson's boat. Johnson will have a lot of tricks figured out before we get to him.
Any trick Johnson might try would only endanger our lives, Jerry. I am sure the commander will find a way to compel Johnson to bring the boat to the island. Through you.
Me? Well, how can she do that?
There are many ways. We shall see.
Well, if I get a chance to talk to Johnson before we get too close to the island, I'll bet he'll figure some way to give old G47 a headache.
Enough of such nonsense.
Gee, she heard us.
The green tube is lighted. We were careless, Jerry.
That is natural with worldly fools. You, Cleostra, should know that only Euclideans are perfect.
Okay, we'll keep quiet, Commander.
I wish you to come forward to the control section. You also, Cleostra.
What do you suppose she wants now?
We must go quickly and find out.
All right. Take this transparent steel wall out of the way. I'm not so good at walking through steel walls.
You are not good at anything. Particularly are your powers of observation not good. The wall has been removed.
So it has, Jerry.
Well, golly whiskers. How could I tell?
You could not, though an intelligent person would.
Oh, thanks for the violets. Come on, Joan.
Be very careful, Jerry, and do nothing to make S1 angry.
Oh, never mind. I mean, I know what I'm doing.
You may sit there, Cleostra. Touch nothing and say nothing. You, Hall, will sit here.
Right here?
Yes, there.
Well, here I am. What do I do now?
Look at this chart. Our position is here. The position of Johnson's boat is there. Check those at once and assure me you agree with the position of Johnson as given in the last message we received from him.
Right. I'll check it.
Do not try to do anything except what you are told, Jerry.
I got it. It's just where Johnson gave his last position.
Good. We will now contact Johnson again and get his present position. If my indicators are correct as to the speed with which he is approaching us, he should be at latitude 27 degrees, 29 to 30 minutes south.
Gee, how can you tell that?
You will notice the needle swaying in this indicator.
Yeah?
This is recording the increase in volume of the exhaust of Johnson's motors as his boat nears us. His exact speed is the square root of the dial reading on that indicator, the result being in degrees per hour.
Jumping catnip. This is sure slick. What do I do now?
You will take over this microphone as before. On the red tube glow, raise Johnson and speak to him as if you were on the yacht at the island. Check his exact position.
Well, do I go now?
You may speak when this red tube glows. Remember your instructions. Reassure Johnson that all is well with your party, but that you need his boat to leave the island with, and ask for his exact position. Ready? Silence, Cleostra.
I I understand.
J24Y to J12C. Jerry Hall on J24Y to Johnson on J12C. Hello, J12. Hello, J12C. J12C. Hello, J12. Jerry Hall on J24Y.
J12C
or
to
Bradford to Johnson.
J24Y. Hello, Jerry. Johnson on J12C to Jerry Hall on J24Y. Go ahead, J24Y.
Please check your exact speed and position and give me at once. We must be prepared for your exact time of arrival at Island. How soon can I have exact position? Your boat. Go ahead, J12C.
Am exactly 27 degrees, 30 minutes south, making 35 knots on course due south to Island. Check Island position back to me. Go ahead, J24Y.
Okay, J12C. Your position, 27 degrees, 30 minutes south. You are making 35 knots. Island position, 29 degrees south. Does that check?
Repeat of my position, okay. Position of Island, okay. But cannot understand reception of your beam with strength in it. Where are you getting power for generator if yacht is crippled? Last message from you said yacht total wreck. Can you explain that, Hall?
Can't explain now. Keep coming. We'll report to Bradford your position and speed. That is all, J12C. That is all.
Hold it, Hall. Your last message said the bosun was ill. Reassure him all is well. Get that, Hall. All is...
Hey, what did you turn that generator off for? I wanted to hear what Johnson had to say about the bosun.
I realize that, but it will do you no good to hear more about it, nor will it aid Johnson.
Oh, is that so? Well, there's a couple of things you don't know.
Silence. I'm completing my calibration of Johnson's speed and position with relation to ours. He is making 35 knots, we 25. His position is 27:30, ours 28:15. We will be directly under Johnson's boat in exactly 45 minutes. You will be free to observe the meeting and the Euclidean method of handling such trifling details.
Oh, you may not find it so trifling if Johnson's all set for you.
Please be careful, Jerry. Say nothing.
I won't have to say anything. Johnson will do all that.
If you think you are going to surprise me because that homing pigeon you call the bosun will arrive at Johnson's boat before we do, you underestimate my intelligence. Jerry, she knew about the pigeon. Naturally. And what can Johnson do with the message he will take from the pigeon?
Why, gee, I guess he can't do anything with it.
Precisely. So you see, my young fool, in 45 minutes we will have Johnson, boat, pigeon, formula, and all.
Many of the colonies of this planet here have been founded and built by misfits, rebels, rejects from their own societies, the transported criminals. And they've made good men in those new frontiers. But not all men are good men in a bad spot. When you open a new area, whether it's a new planet or a new continent, it takes tough men, men of strength and determination. Among the men of that type in any culture, many are rebels. They turn up in the criminal courts. Such men make fine colonists. But not all rebels are colonists, builders. A lot of them are just plain, lazy, sick-souled criminals. Now, Mars is a cold planet. It's nearly 50 million miles further from the sun than Earth. It gets proportionately less heat. Its air is thin and low in oxygen. Its water is scarce. It's not an easy place to live. Some men will live in unpleasant places by choice because they have this pioneering spirit or a sense of adventure. Other men have very little choice at all. When Robert Black was found guilty of the crime of armed robbery, the court gave him the usual choice: 15 years in prison or a permanent exile to Mars. The judge asked him which he preferred.
I'll take Mars.
It was so ordered.
All right, Harrington, I'll see Robert Black now. Morning, Mr. Jenner. What is it this time, Black? In trouble with the mine foreman again?
No, not this time, but if he keeps pushing...
Don't start that again.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jenner.
Now, look, Black, I'm supposed to be the colonial administrator here. Remember, I have work to do. Now, what's on your mind?
I want to go home.
Now, you're certainly welcome to. You know where your dormitory room is. Go ahead and go home. Why bother me with it?
Oh, you know what I mean. I want to go back to Earth.
Earth? That's impossible, and you know it. You made your choice 10 years ago. You wanted to be a free colonist instead of a prisoner, and you got what you wanted.
Free? You call this free? I work my hands off clear to the elbows in those freezing coal mines. I work 8-10 hours a day for what? For a few lousy bucks? And where can I spend it? No place. I'd rather be in jail.
No place to spend it. You seem to do a pretty good job getting rid of your paycheck in the bars in Marsport.
Why not? What else is there to do with it?
Black, a lot of men in your position have done something with it. They saved their money and bought a little pressure dome of their own. They got married and had kids and tried to make Marsport into a real city instead of drinking up every cent they've made.
Me get married? It's a laugh. None of the dames on Mars have anything to do with it, Con.
Oh, you mean they won't have anything to do with you personally, don't you? Other convicts have done something with themselves here, but you haven't, and you never will. You know why?
You tell me.
Because you can't change your way of thinking. You had to come here because you couldn't keep out of trouble, and you've made trouble for yourself and everybody else since you came. Drunken brawls, arguments with your foreman, everything. Someday you'll get in a real jam.
Now, look, Mr. Jenner, I try to get along. Honest, I do. I just don't like being pushed, that's all.
Oh, sure. Everybody picks on you.
Mr. Jenner, I just can't take Mars anymore. Look at my fingers. They're always cold. My feet are always cold. I haven't been warm for 1 minute in the last 10 years. They can't heat up the mines even because the stinking little planet's cold all the way through.
Well, what do you want me to do? Move Mars closer to the sun just to please you?
Look, Mr. Jenner, please, I'm serious. Send me back to Earth. I'll spend the rest of my time in prison there. I won't care just so long as it's on Earth where it's warm.
I just can't do that, Black. You had your chance to make your choice 10 years ago, and you made it. Neither one of us can change that.
Yeah, but it ain't fair. I'd have just 5 more years to do time if I'd taken a 15-year sentence, then I'd be free. The way it is, I gotta spend the rest of my life here. That ain't fair.
I couldn't send you back if I wanted to. I'm just a civil service appointee, not a judge of the court. If you want to spend 5 years in jail, I can accommodate you right here on Mars. But I can't send you back to Earth. And that's final.
But, Mr. Jenner...
That's all, Black. Unless you have something else to see me about, please go. I'm busy.
Look. All right, if that's the way you're going to be.
That's the way I'm going to be. Goodbye, Black.
Goodbye.
There are many men who can't take no for an answer, but they don't all have that characteristic in quite the same way. The pioneer, the scientist, these are men who can't take no for an answer, and they plow their way through to an answer that works. But not all men are of that type.
Bartender, give me another beer. Woman always riding me. Jenner, that big shot. White guy. Sure, he don't worry about somebody freezing to death on his ball of ice. Not him. He can go home when he wants to. Who's this sharpie?
Hey, give me a glass of beer, bartender.
Space Service uniform. Wonder what he's doing in a cheap joint like this. Those guys usually have money to burn.
Boy, this beer's sure flat.
It's this low pressure does it. Takes all the fizz out of it.
Oh, is that so? Well, at least it's cold enough, huh?
Oh, yeah, everything's cold on Mars. You, been to service long?
3 years. This is my first Mars run. Thought I'd take a look at Mars Port while they service my ship.
Your ship? You don't hardly look old enough to be the skipper of a spaceship.
That's what they all tell me. I may not be as old as you, old-timer, but it's still my ship.
Old-timer, right away he starts riding the guy right off the bat. Yeah, that's pretty good. You know, a young fellow like you with a crew of 10 under you.
Oh, no. Just the two of us, me and my navigator. We're giving the Skyfire its test run.
Oh, how can 2 men handle a spaceship?
Hey, look, don't you watch the newscast, mister? Skyfire is one of the new models with the Markheim drive. Fastest spaceship ever built.
I guess I'm a little behind the times. New drive, huh?
That's right. Hottest little thing in the sky.
Must not be as complicated as the old jobs if just 2 guys can run it.
Well, I hate to admit it, but it doesn't take much training to run one. A baby could do it.
Oh, man. Things sure have changed since the last time I was on a ship.
Is that so? Now, how long has that been?
10 years. Been here on Mars for 10 years.
Yeah? Are you, are you...
Convict? Oh, no. I come here my own free will. Got the old pioneer blood in me, I guess. But, we don't usually talk about it very much. You know, out here, one fellow's as good as the next one if he behaves himself.
Yeah, that's the way it should be, I guess. 10 years. Well, I guess you've been here long enough to get used to this light gravity, huh?
Sure. Don't even notice it anymore.
The trouble with being in the space service is that you never get used to any particular gravity. It might be 10 G's 1 minute and 0 the next. But you even get used to that eventually.
I imagine you would. My name's Bob Black.
Oh, I'm pleased to meet you. Mine's Carson, Peter Carson.
Hi. You going to be here long?
Oh, a couple of days. Skyfire will be ready to go in an hour or so, but my navigator's in the hospital for checkup. Twisted his ankle getting off the ship.
Oh, that's too bad. Hey, can I buy you a beer? We're both in.
Sure, thanks.
Bartender, 2 more here.
Say, if you've been here 10 years, you must know Marsport pretty well, huh?
Yeah, pretty well.
Well, look, there must be livelier places than this. Maybe you could tell me where to find a little excitement.
Sure. I know a couple of places. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take you there myself.
Good enough. Come on, let's get out of here. We got far to go?
No, about a quarter of a mile.
Let's take a cab, then. I don't feel like walking that far in this cold wearing an oxygen mask.
Sure, we can pick one up.
Oh, my head.
Yeah, kid, you really hung one on last night.
Oh. Hey, where am I?
Open your eyes and look around. This ain't the good ship Lollipop.
Hey, we're aboard the Skyfire. Hey, you're not supposed to be here. How'd you get through the guards at the gate?
Well, it wasn't easy, pal, but you helped. Now, you just lean back and relax. You're in no condition to try anything funny.
Hey, that's my gun you got there.
That's right. Earth. Beautiful, green, sunshiny, warm Earth. I'm sick and tired of this freezing hellhole. You're going to take me home, buddy.
Colonial Administration, Jenna speaking.
Jenna, this is Colonel O'Neill, Space Service.
Oh, yes, Colonel. What can I do for you?
Well, something pretty serious has come up. Would you check your records on a man named Black? Robert Black?
Well, I might not need to check them. I know the man personally. What's he done now?
Well, I take it then you wouldn't be surprised if you were in trouble.
Not in the least. Why? What happened?
One of our spaceships was stolen early this morning.
What? Well, how could a man steal a spaceship?
A man couldn't steal one of the old kind, but this is a radically new type, small, compact, and easy to operate. Be almost as easy as stealing a car.
And you think Black had something to do with it?
Looks like it. He was the last one seen with Peter Carson, and his fingerprints are on the ladder of the takeoff pit. We're questioning the guards now, but it looks as if Carson and Black took off in the Skyfire together.
Incredible. Who is Peter Carson, by the way?
One of our young trainees. Pretty bright, but just a kid.
Oh?
Got a funny streak in him, though. The psychologist should never have passed it. Still, I never thought he'd do anything like this.
What do you mean? What's wrong with him?
Well, he's a bit of a braggart. Likes to claim he's something he's not. I'm no psychologist, but I'd say that he's a compulsive liar.
And the two of them stole the spaceship. Well, they ought to make a fine pair.
Now, tell me, can Black navigate and operate a spaceship?
Of course not. The only trip he ever made was 10 years ago when the court sent him here. He doesn't know how to operate a spaceship.
Then they'll make a fine pair, all right.
How's that?
Neither does Carson.
A criminal in jail is more or less forced to admit that he did make some kind of a mistake. Curious thing is, if you ask such a man what mistake he made, he's apt to say something other. Well, you see, I didn't see that cop that was hiding down there in the doorway. He views it as a mistake in procedure. He doesn't recognize that he was fundamentally wrong in trying to make a living that way.
Sure outsmarted old smart boy Jenner. Goes to show you, kid, you can't keep a good man down.
Yeah, sure.
2 hours, I'll be back home again. Back to nice, warm, comfortable Earth.
Black, I'm scared we're going to crash.
Shut up. You still trying to give me that phony line?
I tell you, Black, I don't know anything about spaceships.
Give me that, will you? We took off okay, didn't we? We're on course, aren't we? And you did all the plotting and the piloting, didn't you?
I swear all I know is what I read in the textbook of the Academy. And I watched the captain take the ship to Mars. Any fool can take a spaceship off the ground, but it takes a trained pilot to land
You've
one.
been giving me that stuff ever since we started. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't believe it.
Please, Black, before it's too late, let me get on that radio and call the space service. They can get a ship up here.
Shut up. That's what you like, ain't it? Get the space service up here? I see through your dodge, and I'm not buying it. I don't mind getting caught on Earth because they can't deport me twice. They'll put me in a nice warm cell. But they're not going to nab me up here and send me back to that frigid hell I just left, you understand?
Listen,
Shut up, I said. I read over the pilot's manual. I read over the specifications on this ship. A baby could handle it. Remember? That's what you said. A baby could handle it. And you're right. I can land this thing myself. So don't give me any hooey about you not knowing how.
Please, Black, we haven't got much time.
Shut up.
Please, Black, let me use the radio.
Shut up. All right, now that's better. Now let's get ready to land this crate. We got less than 2 hours.
Gun or no gun, I gotta do something.
Sit back down and stay away from that radio.
I'm gonna call him. You can't stop
Get
me.
away, I told you. Stupid, crazy little punk. Now I gotta take this ship down by myself. Everything's okay. Just gotta be calm, that's all. Check the time. That's good. Now, according to the radar map, I'm over Wyoming. No town around. Right smack in the middle of nowhere. Good. That means no cops. Check the time again. Don't rush it now. Check the instruments. Height, velocity, direction. All okay. Time 10 seconds. Back to Earth. Boy, nice, warm, green Earth. No more cold red sand. Time. 5 seconds to cut off. 3, 2, 1. Cut! Hey, we're still falling. I guess I'm okay. Ship didn't fall more than 10 or 15 feet. What's that? Radiation detector. Fall must have broken the shielding around the atomic engine. I gotta get out of here. Gotta get out of that airlock and run. This radiation could kill me. Could kill me if I don't get out. Oh, no. But I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here or I'll die. I gotta get out and see that good old warm old Earth. I gotta get out.
Colonial Administration, Jenner speaking.
This is Colonel O'Neill, Mr. Jenner. I just got word from Earth that our 2 runaways have been found.
You mean they actually made it to Earth?
Well, it wasn't a good landing. The engines were cut off too soon, and the sky fire dropped about 15 feet. But that ship's pretty nearly foolproof.
What happened?
Our man Carson has a bullet in him. Doctor says in bad shape, but he'll live.
And Black?
Funny thing. Shot the ship down in the desolate part of Wyoming. The fall shorted the radiation detector, and evidently Black thought the ship was full of radiation. He got out fast, started running, and just kept running until he dropped.
You mean he got away?
Well, he didn't get far. It's January, you know, wintertime in Wyoming. He ran into the teeth of a howling blizzard at sub-zero temperatures.
Yeah?
Froze to death before they could reach him.
Characteristic of a man who wants to do things the quick, easy way, that he doesn't like to take the time and trouble to look up the data as to what's going to happen when he gets there. It would have been easy enough for Black to check and find out it was winter on Earth. But you see, Mars doesn't have the same seasons Earth does. Mars' year is about twice as long as ours. I guess Black has sort of lost track of what it was like in Wyoming in January.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Say, gang, here's an adventure that's so fantastic you'd hardly believe it's really true. It's the story of one young Marine who all by himself survived 3 whole weeks of fighting in the jungles of Guadalcanal. He'd gotten lost from his platoon one morning and was hiding in the grass.
Hey, fellas, where are you? Hey! I wonder where they could have gone. Maybe up this trail. Holy smoke, a gang of Japs. I can't get around them. Gee, I wonder what Hey, I bet this trick will work. Come on, fellas. Let's get them.
Yes, sir, that Marine stampeded a large group of Japs by pretending he was a whole platoon. And then he went on through the jungle. And at last, one rainy night...
Gee, lights ahead. I must have hit a camp. I sure wish I could tell whose it is. I'll crawl a little closer. Why, say, that looks like my own gang. Hey, Sam! Joe! Hey, fellas, it's me! Hey, here I am!
Yes, sir, after 3 weeks fighting the jungle and the Japs, that Marine got back to camp safely. Now, I don't have to tell any of you how much endurance that Marine had to have in order to come through his ordeal as well as he did. So I'll just point out something that all of you will be mighty glad to know. None of you can expect to have plenty of zip and energy unless you eat right, which includes getting all your vitamins. And I know hundreds of fellas and girls are starting to get 2 mighty important vitamins, B1 and D, in a mighty grand-tasting way. It's by sitting down to a big bowl full of delicious Kellogg's Pep for breakfast every morning. And believe you me, anybody who's had a taste of those swell, super crisp golden flakes can tell you what downright good eating Pep is. So ask your mother to get you a package of Kellogg's Pep tomorrow.
And now, the adventures of Superman. Superman, in his guise of Clark Kent, is now pitted against the master criminal of his time, a nefarious underworld character who calls himself the Vulture. The Vulture, as you remember, has in his possession the model of the almost human mechanical man invented by Dr. Cameron. In our last episode, we heard how the Vulture carried out what he called an experiment in horror. After holding a conversation with Jimmy Olsen, Daily Planet copy boy, whom he's holding prisoner, the Vulture made a phonograph recording of Jimmy's answers and sent it to Editor White and Clark Kent. The record made it appear as if the Vulture were harming Jimmy, although actually, as we know, Jimmy has been well cared for. As our last episode ended, Clark Kent suddenly realized the record gave him just the clue he was looking for, and as Superman, set out to track it down. As our story continues now, Superman, in his guise of Clark Kent, arrives at the Worldwide Recording Company.
I'd like to see the manager, please. Is he expecting you, sir? No, but I must see him at once. This is a matter of great importance. 1 minute, please. I'll find out if I'm sorry, I can't wait.
As further replying to yours of the 28th, I wish to state that... What the devil? What's the meaning of this? How dare you break in on me like this?
I apologize for intruding like this, but I've got some business with you, and it's got to be done fast.
Well, I'm afraid you'll have to wait until
I can't wait. It's a matter of life and death.
Life and death?
That's right. I'm assisting the police in tracking down a dangerous criminal, and you...
How do I know you represent the police?
You have to take my word for it. You sell machines for making records at home, don't you?
Yes. Well, they haven't been very successful. Not many people have bought them.
Well, that narrows my search. I want a list of the people who bought those machines.
Well, that ought to be simple. We've only sold 3 or 4 of them, actually. They're very expensive, you know.
I've got to know the names of the people who bought those machines at once. Now, please hurry.
One moment. I think we can accommodate you.
Thank you.
Would you mind telling me why you need these names?
Well, now, there's hardly time for that.
I see. Yes. Get from the files the name of all customers who have bought model X4793, I believe, the home recording outfit.
Well, I'm afraid that's impossible, sir.
What do you mean?
Well, that's ridiculous. Why is it impossible?
Well, have you forgotten, sir? All those files were destroyed in the fire we had here 6 weeks ago.
Great Scott, of course. I'd completely forgotten that.
Well, haven't you duplicate files? I've got to get the names of those customers. I've just got to.
I'm afraid we can't help you, sir. All our files were completely destroyed.
That puts me in a fine spot.
But isn't there any way you can trace this criminal you speak of?
Oh, I don't see how. You see, he sent us a recording with a special message on it, a recording made on one of your machines.
Yeah?
If you have no record of the people who bought these machines, I don't see what I...
Unless what?
There's just one way I can think of. It's my only chance, in fact. But it's got to work. It's got to.
As Kent prepares to follow a last desperate course of action, another scene is taking place in the hideout of the Vulture. We join him now in the sumptuous study, where he is seated across a table from Jimmy Olsen. On the table is a portable record player, and the Vulture has just finished playing a copy of the record he sent to Kent and Perry White. Listen.
You mean you sent that record to Mr. Kent and Mr. White?
Yes, my boy. I consider it rather ingenious of me to have thought of tricking you into playing that scene for me.
But you made it sound as if you'd been torturing me.
Exactly. That is how I planned it. My idea was to inflict great mental torture on your friends as revenge for their hounding me and, incidentally, to demonstrate that I am best left alone.
I'd rather you kill me than do a thing like this.
Oh, really? Well, it may interest you to know, young man, that your wish is about to be granted.
You're trying to bluff me. You wouldn't dare.
Wouldn't I?
But why? Why kill me? Why don't you just let me go?
So you can go back to your friends and let them know you're all right? Oh, no, that would spoil everything.
Now, wait a minute, Vulture. This is different from the other crimes you've committed. You're taking a chance.
It's very clever of you to stall for time like this. It will do you no good. I'm tired of this playing cat and mouse.
But I warn you. Wait a minute. What are you tying me in this chair for?
Because the mechanical man is going to do this job for me, it is necessary for you to remain perfectly motionless. And I doubt if you'll do that under the circumstances if you're not tied in. There. That'll do for your arms. Now, these ropes around your body.
You're going to kill me. Why go to all this trouble? Why not...
I have a sort of mania for doing things in an unusual fashion. There, I think that will do. You can't move, can you?
I'm warning you, Vulture. You're sticking your neck way out.
Your concern for my neck is very, very amusing. Now to get that rifle down off the wall from over the fireplace. I believe it's loaded. Yes. And now to stand it on the desk so that it is pointing straight across at you, and the mechanical man will fire it for me.
You're crazy, I tell you. When that rifle goes off, it'll be heard out in the street.
Oh, no, it won't. This is a soundproof room, especially constructed with double windows.
I'm warning you again. You see, whenever I've been in danger, my friend Superman has always managed to arrive in the nick of time. And he will this time, too. I hope.
Well, if your friend Superman is going to help you, he'd better hurry. Now then, all is ready. The gun is pointed straight at you. The mechanical man is standing at the end of the table. I shall take this control panel into the next room with me. From there, I shall order him to walk across the table and pull the trigger.
You rat. You'll pay for this.
We shall see. Goodbye, young Olsen.
Golly, if only Superman would show up. How can he know about this? I'm afraid I can't count on him this time. Better try to get out of these ropes if I can't. No, it won't work. He tied me to this chair plenty tight. I can't budge. I guess I'm a goner. Holy smoke. The eyes of the mechanical man are lit up. That means he's ready to work. He's starting to walk straight across the table toward the gun. Oh, I've got to get out of this chair. I've just got to. I can only throw my body around and move the chair. No. The chair's too heavy. I can't budge it. It's getting closer to that rifle. Superman. Certainly, if he's going to help me, he better do it quick. He's never failed me before, but... The mechanical man has stopped. He's standing right next to the trigger of that rifle. He's leaning down toward the trigger. His hand is moving toward it. He's going to pull it.
Just in time, I think, Jimmy.
Superman. Oh, I knew it. I knew you'd save me. Oh, gosh.
A little close for comfort, Jim. Thank heaven I made it in time to catch that bullet. Here, let me get those ropes off you.
How in the world did you find me?
Well, your friend Clark Kent traced you here by means of that record the Vulture sent him. He went to the company that makes home recording machines. Wait a minute now. There, your arms are free.
Oh.
But the files had been burned out.
Well, how did he manage then?
Well, his only remaining chance was to get in touch with a man who repairs such machines. He did, and as luck would have it, the man had repaired this one. Now, wait a minute. I'm going to have you out of this. There we are.
Oh, golly. Sure is good to stand up and... That door. The Vulture's coming back.
So far as I'm concerned, that's just perfect.
Where did you come
You
from?
filthy swine.
Look out, the table. The mechanical man. It smashed to bits.
Let me see, quick. Yes, that's too bad. Afraid it's smashed beyond repair, and the parts can't be replaced. Well, Jim, that's the end of the mechanical man, I'm afraid. I can't say I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
A mechanical man such as this is a powerful instrument, and as you've seen, Jim, the danger of this invention being used for evil purposes has been ever present. Well, that danger's removed now. It'll never be used for evil again, and I'm glad.
I guess you're right. Anyway, you've saved my life and captured the Vulture.
Yes, Jim, the Vulture is our prisoner once again. And there's one thing this time that we've got to be sure of.
What's that?
We've got to make sure the Vulture never escapes again.
And so ended the adventure of the mechanical man. But that certainly didn't mean the end of adventures for Superman, because at 5 o'clock the following morning, Clark Kent was roused from bed by the sound of a telephone ringing.
Hello? Chief, that you? What in the world are you calling me at this hour for? Well, it's just 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, yes, but... Wait a minute. Get down to the office right away. Well, what on earth for? You pack bags? With clothes for sub-zero weather? Well, now, yes, of course I'll be right down. But, Chief, what's this all about? What's up and where am I going? Hello? Hello? Hung up. Well, I better pack and get right down to the Daily Planet. I wonder what trouble we've got ourselves into now.
Puzzled by Perry White's strange phone call, but sure a new adventure is beginning, Kent hurriedly packs warm clothing and rushes down to the Daily Planet office, his mind awhirl with unanswered questions. In just a moment, we'll return to the adventures of Superman. But right now, here is another important message.
Say, gang, I've told you how golden and tempting Kellogg's Pep looks, and how crisp and crunchy and flavorsome Pep tastes. But the other day I got to thinking that I'd never told you why Pep is such a super breakfast cereal. So I found out from the Kellogg Company how Pep is made, and I can hardly wait to pass the story along to you. You see, in the first place, the Kellogg people choose only extra choice parts of sun-ripened wheat, so as to be sure you get every bit of that grand, flavorsome goodness. And then they carefully toast Pep till it comes out a lovely, tempting golden brown, and so wonderfully light and crisp, you can hardly wait to pour on the milk and go to it. So be sure your mother gets you a package of Kellogg's Pep tomorrow. And remember...
Pep, Pep. Get in step. Make your cereal Kellogg's Pep.
And now, back to Superman. What is the meaning of Editor White's early morning call for Kent to report for work at once? And why did Mr. White specify that Kent pack clothes for sub-zero weather? There's a new and very exciting adventure beginning for Superman tomorrow, so don't fail to tune in. And be with us every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, for the thrilling Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Follow the adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is directed by George Losa and is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. This is Mutual.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rocket into the future with Tom Corbett. Hey, Cadet. Stand by to raise shift. Blast off. -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. As soaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. It is a holiday on the planet Venus. A holiday celebrating the date 100 years before, when the Earth colonies were granted independence and the cloudy planet took its place in the Solar Alliance. For Space Cadets Tom Corbett, Roger Manning, and Astro, it is a holiday from duty, the beginning of a week's leave. And in an old and somewhat battered jet launch belonging to Astro's family, the boys skim over the lush Venusian jungles. It's a beautiful day, a perfect beginning for a vacation. Yet, as usual, Roger finds a reason to complain.
Look, Astro, as long as I was spin dizzy enough to say I'd go fishing with you, I'd like to get there. Won't this flivver go any faster?
Relax, Roger. We'll be in Goldtown soon.
There's a difference, you know, Roger, between spaceships and jet launches. Sure, and there's a difference between jet launches and walking, but I'll take walking. Hey, that's an idea, Astro. Why not drop him off in the jungle and let him walk?
Suits me. He might last an hour, with luck.
You Venusians sure are proud of having the crummiest jungle in the solar system.
Sure. Fighting that jungle made my father and his father before him tough enough to win the independence we're celebrating now.
The way I heard it, Venus got its independence because nobody wanted it. I wouldn't mind owning a piece of it, especially like this place where we'll meet Astro's uncle. You mean Goldtown? I never even heard of it before.
You will. It already produces about 1/5 of all the gold found on Venus. And a new company has opened up an even richer vein. Almost pure gold and lots of it.
Who cares about gold now? It's space full of really important minerals.
Oh?
Well, Astro, I guess Roger won't want any of those nuggets.
Huh?
You know, the gold nuggets. Didn't your uncle say we could get a few big ones for souvenirs?
Oh, yeah, those. But as long as you're not interested,
Roger.
Roger.
I'm not interested. They'd be worth plenty. Gold is... Hey, you jokers aren't kidding me, are you? Where'd you get that idea, Space Boy?
Why, you can pick them up big as your head. Pin size.
Go blow your jets. Hey, Astro, that the town, those roofs down there?
Uh-huh. We'll be there in a second. I'll drop lower so you can get a look at it.
I bet the town will be pretty lively today. All the miners and their families will be celebrating the holiday.
Yeah, everybody always turns out for... Hey, that's funny.
So that's what you call a boom town. Oh, brother, what a dead joint.
Yeah, dead is right. And this is always a lively place, even on ordinary days.
Hey, this isn't a gag, is it?
Well, it can't be. I don't understand.
Astro, look down there. Glass all over the street. Storefronts have been smashed in.
And there's a wrecked jet car. And another.
Land this flivver fast, Astro. We better find out what's happened.
My uncle's store is down the street. Hurry, fellas.
Sure, Astro. But there's not a chance of him being there. I never saw anything like this. Why, it's a ghost town. Yes, Roger. Only this ghost town didn't die quietly. I'll say it didn't. Doors broken in, houses wrecked.
And everybody gone. Men, women, and kids. What could have happened?
Well, Gold Town's surrounded by a jungle full of prehistoric monsters, isn't it? Dinosaurs? Tyrannosaurus? They're not prehistoric on Venus, Roger. Well, that's what I mean. They're alive. Maybe a bunch of them attacked the town. Maybe, but they didn't. Men are behind this. All radio equipment has been destroyed. You can see there's been some looting.
Here's my uncle's store. Come on inside.
It's empty, like all the others. And wrecked even worse. The shelves have all been cleaned up. By the rings of Saturn. Roger, look behind the counter. A man still holding on to an old-fashioned rifle.
What is it, Tom? Did you find anything?
Let us stay back, Astro.
No, let me see. Oh, no.
Is it your uncle?
No. His partner, old Peter Adams. He used to tell me stories when I was a kid, and now...
Now, easy, Astro. Get a grip on yourself.
I'm okay, Tom. But what could have happened here? Where's Uncle Carl and everybody else, and who wrecked Gold Town?
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Spaceman, next time you get swell-tasting Kellogg's Pep, you'll get something mighty special right along with it. Just look on the back of the Pep package and you'll see what I mean. Every regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep has a Space Cadet picture cut out on the back. Now, you want to get the whole collection. Then you can build up a Space Cadet scene showing the cadets ready to blast off on a rocket flight or speeding through outer space in the Polaris. Each Space Cadet picture cutout is made from a detailed full-length photograph, and each picture shows you one of the official Space Cadet uniforms. Start your collection now. Get a package of Kellogg's Pep and have Pep for breakfast every morning. You'll enjoy that rich whole wheat and malt flavor. And with milk and sugar, maybe fruit, Kellogg's Pep is a dish that just starts you off right. When you finish the box, you're all ready to cut out the Space Cadet picture for your collection. Get all 4 Space Cadet picture cutouts. There's one of Astro, Roger, Tom Corbett, and Dr. Joan Dale. And if you get 2 of a kind, why, you can trade them with your pals for the one that you don't have. It's loads of fun. So start collecting Space Cadet picture cutouts right away. Remember, you get another Space Cadet cutout on the back of every regular-sized package of the Build-Up Wheat Cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. Arriving at the isolated mining village of Gold Town on Venus, where they expected to enjoy a week's leave, the Space Cadets find the little town has suffered a mysterious raid of almost unbelievable violence. And when Astro leads them to his uncle's store, they make another shocking discovery: the dead body of Uncle Carl's partner. And there is no sign of any living person. The town is completely deserted.
We have to get word to the Solar Guard, fellas, and that means flying back the way we came in the jet launch. This is too big a job for us to tackle alone.
Well, okay, but first I'm going to fly over the mining and processing area. It's in another clearing north of here.
North? But that's out of our way.
It won't take long. And if there's any reason for this, it must be the gold.
Yeah, makes sense all right, Astro. Besides, maybe we'll find something definite to report to the guard.
For you to report. If any of the murdering rats are up there, I'm staying
Don't
straight.
be space happy, Astro. You can't fight a gang all by yourself, even if your uncle is captured.
No, it's not just him or Peter Adams. It's all the people of Gold Town. They're Venusians like me, and I know most of them. I was brought up here, and... Oh, well, I guess you fellas can't understand.
I think we do, Astro. Come on, let's get moving.
We're almost over the mining area, fellas. Keep your eyes peeled.
Hey, look over there to the left. There seems to be a break in the jungle.
It must be the clearing. Yeah, I see some chimneys. Well, that's the processing plant, Roger. The mines are right near it. Hey, look. There's a big crowd down there.
That's our answer, Astro. Those must be the people of Gold Town loading those 2 space freighters with armed men all around to make them do it.
Dirty space crawlers stealing all the gold and making our people do the work for them.
They have other workers, too. Look, giant robots. Like the ones we ran into on Mercury. I thought the men there must be part of a larger gang.
Hey, Galaxy, how did they get here?
Who cares? They're here and they're going to be tough to lick.
Guns and robots. No wonder they were able to capture everybody. And Peter Adams tried to stop them with a rifle.
Hey, wait a minute. I think we've been spotted. They're looking up here.
Maybe we'll scare them off.
No, Astro. Look, there's a rocket gun mounted in the clearing. They're training it on us.
Start dodging, Astro.
Yes, get this crate out of here fast.
Okay, hang on.
Doc, here comes a warhead.
That was too close. Tom, maybe you'd better take the controls.
Too late to switch now. Just keep dodging and open the jets wide. We're out of sight, fellas. I guess we're safe now. That was a nice job of tree hopping, Astro. You kept them from getting a good shot at us.
Well, thanks, Tom, but we may not be in the clear yet.
You mean the robots?
Yeah, if the gang sends them after us, we'll be in trouble.
Jumping Jupiter, I forgot about them. They could catch this bag of bolts and make scrap of it in 2 minutes. They sure could, but I don't see any of them following us, and the killers should have them in the air by now.
They would if they wanted to use them. Maybe they don't want to tip their hand by showing the robot.
Or maybe they didn't want to take them off the job. Looks as if they were getting pretty near the end.
Well, maybe. It's funny reasoning, but lucky for us. Now we can go and get the solar guard after them. Yeah, you do that. I'll circle back and land as close as I can. Then you can take over, Tom. You mean you still want to try and fight that gang? I have to.
Don't be a jerk, Astro. What can you do against those robots?
Probably not much, Roger, but as you said, it looks as if they're getting near the end of the loading. Those space rats will be gone before the solar guard can get here.
Well, so what? Why toss your life away to try and save some gold?
It's not the gold, Roger. It's all those people. You remember the killers on Mercury didn't like to leave any witnesses. This bunch probably feels the same way.
You think they'd murder the whole population of a town?
Yep. After they're through using them as slaves.
You may be right at that, Astro. We'll have to try to help them.
We?
Sure, I'm staying with you.
Roger can go after the guard.
Wait a minute, Junior. If you two bubbleheads can be heroes, so can I. I'm joining the party.
Sorry, Roger, but our chances will be pretty slim, and someone has to send out a warning.
Oh, space dust. Why should I be the one
Don't argue, Roger. There's no time.
All right, blast it. I'll be the messenger, boy.
Good, and while you're delivering, keep your fingers crossed for us. This is a tough jungle you grow here, Astro. Must have taken us half an hour to come a few hundred yards. Yeah. It's hard going, Tom. It's swell of you to do this when you're not even a Venusian.
Oh, what of it? I'm a human. Forget it, pal, and keep your voice down like the edge of the clearing.
Oh, look at those space crawlers. They're driving the people like cattle.
Those gold bars and bags of ore must be heavy, too. But with gunmen everywhere, the people can't even rest.
Hey, there's Uncle Carl. The gray-haired man, see?
Uh-huh. He looks pretty old to be carrying a load like that.
He can take it, I guess. He's hard as nails. Tom, look. That man, he collapsed. Great Jupiter. One of those thugs is kicking the poor guy. Kill the dirty space crawler. Oh, Astro, stay down. Tom, did you hear that? They are going to kill them. Let me go.
Oh, it would be suicide. And the only way we can help these people is to stay alive and think, but fast.
We're right back where we started, Tom. We've been all around the clearing, and there's no way to break that up except...
No, Astro. For the last time, we can't go charging in blindly. If we wait, we may still get a break. Or, best of all, the solar guard may get here.
You're just kidding yourself. One freighter's loaded already. The other's almost finished. Roger can never reach them in time.
Wait a minute, Astro. Listen. Ship coming this way.
Hey, you don't suppose to keep
your fingers crossed.
There. I see it now, Tom. It's a space yacht. It's armed, and it's coming straight for the clearing. I think it's going to attack the killers.
I'm afraid not, Astro. Take a look at them.
Huh? They've made room for it to land. They've been expecting it. Blast it. More guns against us.
In a spot like this, a few more won't matter, I guess. But maybe if they sit down close to the jungle.
Oh, they won't. It's coming in right in the center of the clearing.
I wonder who those characters are.
The leaders, I guess. Look, 2 men are getting out. Hey, they're carrying someone. Great blazing comets.
It's Roger. He's unconscious.
How in blazes did they get him? He was blasting back to headquarters.
Must have intercepted him and shot him down. That's why those robots weren't sent after us.
What do you mean?
That armed yacht must have been on patrol. And this bunch just radioed an alert for the flipper.
Well, that settles it, Tom. The solar guard won't be coming. Our last chance blasted into space dust.
Yes. I guess it's up to us now.
Well?
You win, Astro. We'll make that rush you've been plugging for. At least we'll go down fighting.
That's what I've been waiting for. Come on, let's ease forward as close as we can get.
Follow me.
A little more to the left, Tom. We'll be covered by that tree.
Check it. Hey, down, quick.
What's the matter?
One of those thugs is wandering over this way.
Think he saw us?
No, he's just carrying a radio control for one of the robots.
He'll be past in a couple of seconds. Then we can make our break.
No, we don't have to, Astro. This is our break.
What?
If we could grab him, we'd have his ray gun and a robot, too.
Hey, that's right. Come on, fella. This way. Get a little closer. Come on. Blast it. How do you like that? He sat down.
He's going to set up the robot control there. But he's at least 20 feet out in the clearing.
Bad as it is, we're not going to get a better chance. Let's go out and get him.
Yeah, I guess there's no other way. Blast it. If we only had a rope.
A rope? The rope's hanging all around you.
Where?
These Venusian jungle vines. They're as good as rope anytime.
Well, can we hack off a piece, a long piece?
Sure. They're brittle down near the root. I can snap a whole vine off. Wait a minute. There.
Hold still.
The joker heard you. He's turning around. Uh-oh. Quiet. Okay. Relax. He turned back. I guess he thought it was just an animal. Yeah. Now, come on. Help me strip off the leaves, but quietly. Look, would you mind telling me what we're doing? Going fishing, Astro. Now, you see this noose I'm tying in the end? With luck, we can toss it over his head from here. Yank it tight so he can't squawk and just haul him in. Don't you think the other jokers will see it? Yeah, maybe, but the odds are better doing this than busting out in the clearing ourselves. I guess you're right. And the robot control is attached to a strap around his neck. It should come right along with him. Okay. Are you ready? Yeah. This noose should hold. But let me try to snag it. I've got longer arms so I can reach out further. Okay, Astro. Shoot. Here goes. You got him. Pull. Keep it tight around his neck. Here he comes. And nobody's looking this way. But the strap on the robot control broke. It's falling off. I get it. No, Astro, don't let go of the line. Keep pressure on. Help! Hey! Over here. Astro, shut him up. Right. He's out. It's too late. They heard him. Come on back. Things are getting hot. Yeah, they're using heat right. Come on, let's beat it. Here, I got his gun. You take it. Thanks. Good work. You winged a couple of them. There's so many of them I can't miss. Besides, they can't see us here. We have that much advantage. They're falling back, Tom. We're beating them. Great Jupiter. What's the matter? The robots. They're sending the robots in after us. Oh, the gun's no good against them. Look at them come. That does it, Tom. We're licked.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. K-Day. K-Day is here. K-Day. K-Day is here. All over the country, the word is going out. By telegraph, by radio, by telephone. The news is spreading like wildfire. Yes, K-Day is here. And that means that every single one of Kellogg's cereals has been dressed up in a brand new package. And now that K-Day is here, you can see those new Kellogg packages right at your grocery store. They're new, they're fun, they're exciting. And are they different? You'll see pictures of cowboys, fellows and girls playing games. You'll even see the Space Cadets. Every one of these new Kellogg packages has something exciting and different. So don't delay. Chart a course to the grocery store just as soon as you can. See the better-than-ever Kellogg cereals and newer than new Kellogg packages. Then you'll be saying,
did you see what I saw? Kellogg's on display in brand new boxes, bright and gay. These famous cereals come your way. Go see this eyeful. The Kellogg's All-Star Breakfast Show has a cheerful look, a lift for you. Start you out with a hoop-de-doo. Kellogg's for breakfast and a happy, happy day. Get a big supply today.
Yes, for a happy day, have a happy breakfast with the best-tasting cereals ever, Kellogg's. In a desperate attempt to rescue the people of Goldtown, Tom and Astro almost succeed in gaining control of one of the gang's giant robots. But when the plan fails and the killers are alerted, the cadets are seemingly trapped as the giant indestructible robots are sent crashing into the jungle after them.
Tom, we're finished. We can't stop those robots. They'll run us down.
Yes, if we just stay in front of them, Astro. But they can't think for themselves, and the men operating them will expect us to run back into the jungle. This is a chance to pull a fast one. Ow! Pop up that man you knocked out. Now put my hat on him. That'll delay them for a minute. Okay. Come on. Where are we going? We'll skirt around the edge of the clearing. But they're watching for us now. Not this way. Everybody's looking in the direction the robots are taking, where we were. Well, they're bound to find out we've given them the slip. Sure, but not in time, I hope. We'll cut around to that loaded freighter, the one nearest the jungle, and climb in while they're looking the other way. We can't, Tom. The guards are still in the airlock. We won't use it. Then how? You're a power man, Astro. Can't you think of another way to get in? Hey, wait a minute. The rocket tube's in the clean-out hatch. Right. We'll have to slide through the tube fast. There'll be radioactivity. It's worth it to get to those big guns. You bet it is. Step it up, Tom. We've got to work fast. Come on, Tom. The main deck's empty. Climb in. Wow, we made it. And those space rats think we're still in the jungle. We'll show them how wrong they are. Let me at those rocket guns. Right. I'll take this one. You get on the starboard gun mount. All set. But, Tom, be careful not to hurt any of the Goldtowners. Don't worry. First, we'll pick off the gang's heavy stuff. The rocket gun mounted in the clearing and the robot. I'll knock off the gun. You work on the robot. Check. Ready? Fire!
I nailed the gun. Nothing but junk now.
Good. One robot's down, but they're tough. You better get on them, too.
Right.
Look at those space rats. They don't know what's happening. They're going crazy.
I wonder how they like being on the receiving end for a change. Hey, Tom, some of the Gold Towners are slugging their guards. They're getting into the scrap.
Watch your fire.
Uh-oh, there's a robot getting into the fight. It's over on your side, Tom. Blast it.
No, wait. It's going after the killers. One of the Gold Towners must have grabbed the controls. Hey, what do you know, Astro? Look.
It's Roger. He's all right.
Sounds like jets.
It is. The space yacht is blasting off.
Well, nail it, Astro. Pull it on. It's too fast and heading straight up. Can't get these guns to a sharp enough angle. Now they're gone.
Yeah, too bad we knocked out the blaster in the clearing. That might have been...
Great galaxy. Now the other freighter is taking off on the other side of us. Swing your gun around quick. Forget it, Astro. We're too late.
Blasted a few seconds sooner, we could have clobbered them. A freighter can't climb like a yacht.
That's why the yacht went first, to draw our attention. Well, there's just one thing to do. Go after them right now.
No, we can't, Tom.
Why not?
The Gold Towners are swarming all around our ship. In fact, they're coming in.
And look who's leading the crowd. Hiya, Roger.
Hiya, fellas.
Nice going. We really lowered the boom on those crumbs, didn't we?
Hey, you okay, Roger?
Sure. It'll take more than those space crawlers to get rid of me. He's okay. And listen, I saw your uncle.
You did?
Don't worry about him. He's in great shape. Right now, he's helping some of the wounded.
Oh, I want to go out and talk to him. All right, Tom?
Sure. But hurry back. We still have to nail those killers.
Oh, that's fine with me.
How about you, Roger? Naturally, Junior. After all, that's what I came to Venus for. A nice, quiet vacation.
Don't miss the next action-packed episode with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Thursday, when the crew of the Polaris search for the killers but finds danger, in Part 2 of Holiday of Terror. Tune in, same time, same station on Thursday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal. Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast are Jan Merlin and Al Markham. Today's program was written by Don Hughes, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Escape. Escape tonight to a fabulous world where there is a diamond as big as the Ritz.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the third, is The Diamond as Big as the Ritz by F. Scott Fitzgerald, produced and directed by William N. Robeson.
In a country as large as ours, there are many odd and wonderful corners hidden away, but none more fabulous and wonderful than the one conceived in the imagination of F. Scott Fitzgerald and located in the pages of his famous short story, The Diamond as Big as the Ritz. It is described in the words of John Unger, 20 years old, impressionable, and quite willing to swear to the truth of this whole strange affair.
I'd been going to the St. Midas Prep School for a couple of years, and this was my second summer vacation. I'd met this fellow Percy Washington during the winter and got to be pretty good friends with him. Only I didn't know about his family or where he came from or anything like that. Of course, I knew he must be rich, because all the fellows at St. Midas come from wealthy families. So when he invited me to spend the summer at his home out west someplace, that was okay by me. Well, we'd been on the train overnight when he first mentioned it. I don't even remember now what led up to it. We'd been talking about first one thing, then another. Exactly where is your home, Percy? I mean, You bought the train tickets and all.
It's in Montana, sort of.
Montana? Oh, yes. It's pretty wild country, isn't it?
Some of it is.
Well, now, you take Hades, Missouri, where I come from. It's been settled for 150 years. One of the first towns on the Mississippi River.
Indeed?
Oh, sure.
That's very interesting.
Huh? I sure do appreciate you not making jokes about it. You know, the way some of the fellas do when I say, I come from Hades. Well, my father's plantation stretches
John, do you know that my father is the richest man in the world?
Oh?
By far the richest?
Well, I read about a man that paid taxes on a $5 million income.
Small fry. If my father paid tax on his real income, he'd disrupt the whole economy of the United States.
No kidding. I like rich people. And the richer a fella is, the better I like him.
My father could buy out all the millionaires in the country and not even know he'd done it.
Is that a fact? Well, I visited the Switzer Murphys once. They're plenty rich. Why, their daughter Vivian's got rubies as big as hen's eggs. And sapphires that glow like headlamps.
I like jewels. Always have. I used to collect them instead of stamps.
And diamonds. Well, the Switzer Murphys had diamonds as big as walnuts.
Oh, that's nothing.
Huh?
Nothing at all. My father has a diamond as big as the Ritz.
Oh.
Please, I'm not joking.
But you mean as big as the Ritz-Carlton Hotel?
Exactly. My father has a diamond as big as the Ritz.
Well, from there on, it was something like a dream. We got off the train about dusk at a little whistle stop called Fish, Montana. There wasn't anything there, not even a station. Just a broken-down old buggy and 4 or 5 sheep herders lounging beside the track and, I suppose, wondering who we were. Anyway, Percy and I climbed into the buggy, and without saying a word, the driver cracked his whip, and off we went. I don't know how far we traveled. We didn't seem to be following any road. After an hour or so, it got dark, but the driver kept right on, never saying a word.
I hope you'll pardon this inconvenience, John, but we have to take certain precautions, you know.
Oh, that's all right.
Anyway, we're almost there.
You're home, you mean?
Oh, no, to the place where we consider it safe to transfer.
Transfer? What do you mean?
There's the signal now.
Headlights.
Pull up the horse, Absam. Here we are.
An automobile. But how? Well, there's no road.
Oh, this car's specially built. Doesn't need roads.
Welcome home, Master.
Good evening, Gigsum. Well, come on, John. Let's get in.
But that door opened by itself.
Sonically controlled, you know.
Gosh. Hey, what's this car made out of? Silver?
No, platinum. And those are emeralds in the hubcaps.
And the upholstering. It's fur.
Mink.
You're ready, Master.
Anytime, Gigsum. You've probably noticed the exceptional brightness of the headlights. The lenses are cut from diamonds.
Boy, what a car.
And this old junk heap? We use it for a station wagon.
Well, what are we stopping for? This is just a deserted canyon.
Oh, we're not there yet, John. It's a little further. Wait, you'll see.
Hello, sir! No way!
Percy, what's that? That noise?
They're sending the hooks down.
Hooks?
Yes, to attach to the wheels. You know, that's what Gigsum is doing now.
But
oh, yes, I forgot to mention. Gigsum will look after you during the visit.
Look after me?
Your personal valet. Of course, there'll be other slaves available, too, whenever you need them.
Do you have a lot of slaves?
Oh, 300 or 400, I suppose. Oh, all ready, Gigsum?
Yes, Master. Hello! Haste away!
Hey, look, we're leaving the ground.
Yes, there's a hoist up there on top of the cliff. Has cables about 1/4 of a mile long.
But what for?
Oh, it's the only way in.
Imagine, hoisting an automobile quarter of a mile up the side of a cliff.
It's nothing, really. As you may have guessed, John, this is not going to be like anything you ever saw before in your life. Well, John, there it is.
That's your home? Oh, it's magnificent. Palatial.
It's not a bad little place.
How big is it?
I suppose you mean the number of rooms. I think it's around 140. But Father may remember exactly. Then, of course, there are other buildings. Slaves' quarters and things.
Why hasn't anybody ever found out about it? This place, I mean.
Well, for one thing, it's the only 5 square miles in the United States that have never been surveyed.
Huh? Why not?
Oh, things were arranged.
I don't see how that's possible.
Believe me, it hasn't been easy. I understand Grandfather had to bribe 3 government bureaus, a vice president, and half of Congress once to keep this place off of the maps.
Oh, but surely somebody stumbled onto it. Prospectors, people like that?
Oh, yes, that happens occasionally. Then, of course, we have to arrange things.
You mean...
Not always. Usually we just take them prisoner and keep them. Same as the aviators.
Oh, planes come here?
Well, once in a while they fly over. Of course, they never get away. We have 9 anti-aircraft batteries around the hill here.
You shoot them down?
Oh, yes, great sport. It does upset Mother a bit, though. And there's always a chance that one might get away. That's Father's greatest worry.
Well, this place... This whole thing, it's fantastic.
Oh, come now, John. I picked you for a fellow with his feet on the ground. And you haven't seen anything yet, you know. This is only the beginning.
And it was only the beginning. We crossed the acres of lawn and entered the great chateau. And from that moment on, vision upon vision tumbled together in a gigantic kaleidoscope of color, symmetry, and exquisite harmony. For there were corridors lined with gleaming crystals, lit by lamps cut from emerald. And there were great halls carpeted with chinchilla fur and ermine, and some with floors of clear transparency, flaming in the shifting glow of a myriad-colored fire beneath them. And there was a white-haired man, pink-faced and pleasant, who was Percy's father, and a lovely lady with dark hair piled high on her head, like a fragile queen, who was Percy's mother. Soft music came from hidden places. Perfumes filled the air. Exotic foods and wines more rare than pearls. And finally, sitting in my chair in the great banquet hall, I quietly fell asleep. I thought there could be no more nor greater wonders. I was wrong. There were many more and greater ones. And one of them I discovered the next morning in the garden.
Hello there.
Oh, you're lovely.
My name is Kismine. You're John Unger, and you're a friend of my brother. Are you from the East?
No. Well, at least not exactly. I'm from Hades.
Oh.
Missouri.
Would you like to sit down here on the grass?
Well, yeah, sure I would.
I'm going east to school this fall. Do you suppose I'll like it?
I think so. Of course, it'll be different from all this.
Well, that's what Jasmine says. And she's in the East now. I've never been outside.
Who's Jasmine?
My sister. She's older than I am.
I hope you won't be offended, but... Well, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
Yes, I know.
What?
I surprised you, didn't I? A year ago, I would have said thank you. But Father says it's very necessary to learn to take things for granted. So now I just take it for granted that I'm beautiful, you see?
You're pretty sophisticated, aren't you?
Oh, I'm not at all. I think sophisticated young people are terribly common. I'm not a bit like that.
No, I didn't really mean it. I only said it to tease you.
Well, I'm glad. I wouldn't want you to think anything like that. Why, I don't smoke or drink even. And I never read a thing except poetry.
I was only kidding.
Well, I believe girls should enjoy their youth in a wholesome sort of way.
Oh, so do I.
I like you, John. I wish you'd spend some of your time with me this summer, not all with Percy.
Oh, I will, Kiss Mine. I will.
You may be in love with me if you'd like to. I'm absolutely fresh ground, you know.
I am in love with you.
But of course we'll have to meet secretly. My parents wouldn't permit it if they knew.
Well, then that's what we'll do.
Well, I have to go now. I'm supposed to be with Mother at 11. Aren't you going to ask me for a kiss? Jasmine says boys always do nowadays.
Well, some of them do, but not me. We don't expect nice girls to do that sort of thing in Hades. It was a funny thing. Percy's family were polite, friendly, always smiling. And yet all the time I had a feeling that some terrible and golden mystery lay hidden just around the corner. A few days after I'd met Kiss Mine, Percy remarked casually that an unusual event had occurred. A man had escaped from the cage. I didn't know what he meant then. But the next morning I was walking with Percy's father on the grounds of the estate.
The slaves' quarters are there, Mr. Unger.
Oh. Yes, they're very nice.
Well, they're adequate. During one period of my youth, I became absurdly idealistic and allowed them to live in luxury. I even equipped their rooms with tile baths.
I suppose they use the bathtubs to keep coal in. Mr. Schlitzer Murphy told
I
me
should
once...
imagine the opinions of Mr. Schlitzer Murphy are of little importance. They did not use the tubs for coal. They bathed in them. Unfortunately, several caught cold and died. So, of course, I had the baths removed. Shall we move on?
Mr. Washington, Percy said something about a man escaping from the cage. I didn't quite get it.
The cage, eh? Well, perhaps you'd like to see it. It might prove interesting just as a novelty. It's over here.
These trees. Hey, they're 60 feet tall, and they have roses blooming all over them.
Rather interesting development by a Swiss botanist. They are the only ones in the world.
I'll be darned. Though I suppose you'll see them all over the country in a few years, huh?
No, these are the only ones. That was arranged. Well, here we are. The cage.
Well, it's a pit dug in the ground. And a grating on top.
Oh, yes, it's not really a cage, except in a certain sense. Well, boys, how are you getting along?
Come on down here and see. Yeah, throw them in, buddy. Go ahead.
How many men are down there?
About 50, as I recall.
Who are they?
Oh, aviators we've shot down, wandering prospectors, men of that sort.
Yes, but why are they kept there?
They've all had the common misfortune of having discovered El Dorado. Gentlemen, I'm sure you'd like to know that your companion who departed without my permission has been taken care of. He was shot by some of my agents in 14 different places. Golf, Mr. Unger?
They found him then? The man who got away?
Those places were towns. My agents were over eager. None of them could offer a positive identification. I'm afraid the man may still be at large. So you see, it's not all utopia here. We do have our difficulties.
Isn't it a little unnecessary holding them like that?
Well, not at all. It's the only way to keep this place hidden.
Yes, I guess that must be important. Percy was telling me something on the train. I thought he was just kidding. But he said you had a diamond as big as the Ritz-Carlton Hotel.
Oh, yes, indeed. As a matter of fact, it's much bigger than the Ritz. Much bigger.
Well, summer went on, and I was more and more in love with Kiss Mine. Oh, she was priceless, exquisite, like no other girl in the world. After a couple of weeks, I kissed her, of course, and I was really in love for the first time. Oh, I should have known. I should have put two and two together when Percy's father showed me the cage. But I didn't until one morning late in the summer, I'd slipped off with Kismine to the rose garden. Kismine, I think we ought to elope.
Oh, I don't know. It would be much nicer to be married here. But then it would be more romantic to elope.
Yeah, all the Sunday supplements would write stories about fabulous heiress elopes with... You are fabulous, you know.
I knew an heiress from Omaha once. I don't think you'd like her. She visited my sister here.
Oh, you've had other guests then, huh?
Well, yes, we've had a few.
Wasn't your father ever afraid they might talk outside?
To some extent. Oh, let's talk about something pleasanter.
What's so unpleasant about it?
Well, I grew quite fond of some of them.
You mean they told and your father...
Oh, they didn't get a chance to. Father had to be sure.
Oh, but that's murder.
What else could we do? In the cage, well, they'd have been a constant reproach to us. And Father does it so nicely. They're always drugged in their sleep, and then we tell their families they died of scarlet fever in Butte. I'm not sure how that affects the statistics there.
Of all the horrible...
Oh, it is not. After all, it'd be terribly boring here without ever having anybody. Why, Father and Mother have sacrificed some of their best friends.
Well, you're no better than the... Well, then, that's what they plan to do with me.
Oh, couldn't you forget it? And be nice to me until you're put away? It's only for 2 or 3 weeks.
You'd go on this way, kissing, talking about love, when you know I'm not much better than a corpse?
You're not a corpse. You're not. I won't have you saying I kissed a corpse.
Oh, that wasn't what I said.
You did, too.
I did not.
You said
Just a moment.
Father.
Who kissed a corpse?
Well, nobody. We were joking.
You two haven't any business here anyway. Kismine, go read, go play golf. Don't let me find you here when I come back.
Yes, Father.
Good day, children.
You see? Now he knows. You've spoiled everything. You don't really love me.
Kismine, you... Look, tell me, what's the reason for all this secrecy? What if you are rich and have this place? Why would it be so terrible if anybody found out about it?
Why, it's on account of the diamond, of course.
Diamond? What is this diamond all of you talk about?
Well, it's the... Oh, you'd better ask Percy. I'm always getting things mixed up.
Well, I will ask him. And another thing, I'm getting out of here tonight if I have to dig through the mountains. I'm going back east.
Take me with you.
No.
Why not?
Kismine, dear, your father wouldn't permit it.
If you won't take me, I'll go tell him I want to marry you.
No, you can't do that. He bumped me off this afternoon.
Oh, please take me, darling. We'll be terribly poor and very happy. And I'll cook things for you. Oh, herbs and berries and things. Won't that be fun? You will, won't you, John?
Well, my head was really in a whirl. This whole thing was fantastic. And so was the family, even Kismine. I couldn't think of anything to do, but... Well, I rushed to see Percy.
But, John, why didn't you ask me before?
Because I thought you were kidding all the time.
I know you wouldn't have believed me if I'd told you.
Yeah, well, I'm ready to believe anything now.
Well, it was Grandfather who started the whole thing. Purely by accident. He came out here from Virginia after the war between the states and stumbled onto it.
Onto what?
The diamond. That's what made this all possible, of course. Grandfather spent 2 years going around to different cities of the world selling bits of it. Then he started building this place. He put his money in jewels. But Father found that radium took much less space.
Yeah, but why the secrecy?
Oh, it just wouldn't do if anyone found out. Ruin the economy of the world. The thing's too big.
And this has been going on for 3 generations, then. The cage and this thing of inviting friends.
Oh, yes. You see, there wasn't really any danger before airplanes. They are what worry us.
You knew when you invited me here what would happen.
Please, John. I thought you'd be more sensible about it. After all, you can see my position.
Oh, yeah. Well, where is it? Where do you keep this diamond that's caused so cockeyed much trouble?
Oh, I thought you'd guessed. You've noticed the hill the chateau stands on.
Yes.
It contains a cubic mile. And, except for a thin covering of dirt, it's one big, solid diamond.
It was nearly midnight. I don't know what woke me, but all of a sudden I was staring across the patches of moonlight spotting the ermine carpet of my bedroom. Staring at 3 slaves I'd never seen before. They just slipped inside the door and stood there, each with a vicious length of shiny copper wire. The official executioners. I lay there on the bed watching them, counting heartbeats, not daring to move, not daring not to move. They didn't know I'd wakened, and they began edging across the room.
Come on, all 3 of you. There's no time now for this. All hell's broken loose. Hurry!
I took one long, deep breath, the first one in several moments, and then I was out of the bed in an instant, throwing on my clothes and dashing through the long crystal corridor to Kismine's room. Kismine, are you awake?
John, over here by the window. So they woke you up, too.
If you mean 3 of your father's slaves.
Oh, no, airplanes.
Airplane? So that's what it is.
At least a dozen. I saw them crossing against the moon. Oh, look, they're circling way over there.
You think they're here on purpose?
Oh, yes. They dropped warnings to Father. It's that man who got away from the cage, you know.
Oh, good for him.
Yes, wasn't he clever? Well, I think we'll open up on them any second now.
Open up?
Yes, our anti-aircraft. Oh, this is going to be thrilling.
Thrilling?
Oh, look, they're in range now. Bravo! Bravo!
Kismine, get away from that window.
Oh, good heavens, did you see that?
Yes, and we've got to get out of here. Can't you understand? They'll bomb the chateau next.
I know. There's a little grove across on the side of the mountains. We always keep one of the cars there. Oh, we have a nice view of everything.
A nice view? Kismine, you don't seem to understand. They mean business. They're out to finish off you and your whole family.
Oh, but it all seems so silly. Oh, when you come right down to it, they've never even met us. What time is it, John? Is it morning yet?
I don't know. I've lost my watch. Seems to be getting lighter, all right.
It's quieter, too.
Well, they've knocked out your father's guns. Every last one of them. Won't be long now.
Oh, it seems such a shame. The family put so much work on the place. Everything's always been so pleasant.
Yeah. Well, you better get some sleep, Kismine. I'm going to walk down the path a little ways.
Oh, you'll come back?
Yes, Kismine. I'll come back. At the edge of the wood, I stopped and looked out across the valley toward the wrecked chateau standing on its diamond hill in the center. The bombing had stopped. The planes droned over the far rim of the plateau, seeking some sort of formation. Then, on a little knoll just below me, 3 men appeared suddenly from the underbrush. The first one strode imperiously ahead, and the other 2 bore a heavy burden between them. It was Mr. Washington and 2 of the slaves. I stepped behind a rock and stood motionless, watching them.
All right. This is far enough. We'll stop here. Now, hoist it up. Hold it there. Both together. Easy now. There.
The burden they held up to the heavens was an immense diamond, cut and polished, catching the first faint rays of the dawn and gleaming like a fragment of the morning star.
Now, you out there. You there.
I could see no one else anywhere in view.
You above there. I want you to understand, this is only a sample. I'll give you 1,000, cut as fine, set in pedestals of platinum. And I'll build you a temple, 1,000 feet high, cast of solid gold. And on the top of it, I'll put 1 diamond, 100 feet across, set there forever to catch the rays of your sun.
A thought began to dawn on me. I couldn't believe it.
I'll letter your name on the temple in emeralds, and I'll see that the whole world worships at its base. All you have to do is make everything the way it was before.
Mr. Washington was offering a bribe to God. He stopped talking, and the 3 of them stood there, looking up at the heavens, waiting for an answer. And then at the far end of the valley, out of those same silent heavens, blossomed the white puffs of parachutes. The man who tried to bribe God looked up and saw them, became old in an instant, and turning with lowered head, walked down the path toward the chateau. With sudden premonition, I whirled and headed for the spot where I'd left Kismine. Kismine in the car that needed no roads.
Haven't we gone far enough, John?
I suppose. We're 10 miles from the chateau.
Oh, it's all so hectic. This rushing about and losing sleep and everything.
Hand me those field glasses.
Here they are. Well, can you see anything?
No. Wait.
What is it?
It's your father and mother. And Percy. Yes, and the 2 slaves, still carrying that big diamond. Oh, wait. They're going in a tunnel down below the chateau. So that's it. They've got an underground escape.
No, I remember now. The mountain's wired. Some kind of atom bomb.
Atomic bomb.
Oh, that's it. Father's had it for years. He always said it would disintegrate the whole works, diamond and all. Of course, he only regarded it as a last resort.
So he'd rather have it like that. Well, they're all inside the tunnel now. The troopers are moving in.
I don't suppose there's really anything to be done about it now.
And there wasn't.
I keep thinking about things the way they were. It was all so pleasant. Oh, I don't suppose it will be ever exactly like that again.
Not ever, Kismine. And maybe it never was. Youth's a time for dreaming, and dreams die, too.
I'll probably have to take in washing. But, of course, we'll be very happy. What will we do, John?
Do? Oh, we can love a while underneath the stars. That's a form of divine drunkenness we can all try. And then there may be other diamonds in the world. Who knows? And even though it's a shabby gift, there's always disillusion. Turn up your collar, Kismine, before you catch pneumonia. Let's go to sleep.
The Diamond as Big as the Ritz by F. Scott Fitzgerald was adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield and produced and directed by William N. Robeson, with Jack Edwards Jr. as John, Danny Merrill as Percy, and Linda Mason as Kismine. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Feuer. Escape is presented by the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape to the China Seas with Joseph Conrad in his gripping story of a typhoon. And so, good night until next week at this time, when it will again be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed Space Patrol adventure, Buzz and Happy are locked in a laboratory on the planet Venus, where 2 villainous scientists have developed a new type of bacteria, which they're using to spread an epidemic. Suddenly, the voice of one of the scientists comes over a loudspeaker.
We've taken enough of your meddling, Corey, and the people of Venus City are going to suffer for it. Watch what happens when I throw this switch.
Commander, what's that? Started a gas compressor.
I'm building up pressure in the germ well. In a few moments, they'll burst. Bacteria will be scattered all over the city.
Well, listen to reason. Turn that off.
Don't worry, Corey. The germs won't harm you. You'll be destroyed first by the explosion.
We'll return in just a moment with today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, the Industructible Germ. A cyclone? Just Danny Fields rushing out the door to the grocery. He's just heard there's a swell surprise inside of every new package of checks.
Man, oh, man, oh, man.
Uh-oh, Danny's found the surprise.
A magic space picture. Wowee.
Wowee is right. With the Magic Space Picture Gang, you can have the time of your life. First, you stare at the mysterious picture. What is it? Who is it? It's hard to tell. But then you'll look up at the sky or at a wall and...
Jumping Jupiter. I can see a flying saucer in the sky. Gosh, this picture really is magic.
Magic and how? Why, with the Magic Space Pictures, you can see all kinds of objects floating in space. Objects so big and clear, you'll think they're real. Flying saucer, rocket ship, planet Saturn, Buzz Corey, Cadet Happy. Those are just a few of the Magic Space Pictures. Altogether, there are 24, all different, and you get one inside of every new package of checks. So, gang, start collecting the entire set of 24 Magic Space Pictures today. Just look for the packages of rice checks and wheat checks, with Buzz Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside and the Magic Space Picture on the inside. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, the Industructible Germ. On the planet Venus, several hundred miles from the capital city, is the community of Euphoria, known as the health capital of the solar system. Even in the 30th century, Euphoria is unique. For in these past 3 years, not one man, woman, or child has missed a single day of work or school because of illness. But about 2 weeks ago, an alarming thing happened. All over the city, people of all ages began complaining of weakness, disturbing headaches. Medical authorities are completely baffled. But although there have been no fatalities as yet, the situation is extremely serious. So serious that the city manager, Dr. Simon Kendall, has gone to Terra, seeking aid from the United Planets government. Now, at the request of the Secretary General, Commander Corey, Cadet Happy, and Dr. Kendall are flying to Euphoria to conduct an investigation.
What's our estimated arrival time, Happy? Well, we should reach the Euphoria space lock at 1743 Universal Star Time, sir.
Good. That'll bring us in about 2 hours ahead of the Emergency Medical Corps. I do hope these Terra experts will be able to find out more than my own staff has. The Emergency Medical Corps hasn't failed yet, Dr. Kendall. They've been up against some tough problems. Commander, do you remember my telling the Secretary General that I regretted not coming to him sooner? Yes, Doctor. Well, it was a matter of pride. As city manager of Euphoria, I hated to ask for outside help, even in a crisis as serious as this. I was sure that our own medical authorities would find the answer. Well, I'm sure they could if it were an ordinary problem. I'm afraid that we citizens of Euphoria have become like so many greenhouse plants. Our environment is so carefully controlled that our own bodies have lost some of their natural ability to fight off a new disease.
But, Doctor, if this disease is something new, then anybody might catch it, whether they lived in Euphoria or not.
That's part of our job, Happy, to see that medical security regulations are enforced to prevent the sickness from spreading to other cities and to other planets. That's rather ironic, Commander, your last statement. How do you mean? Well, for about 25 years, Euphoria has considered itself the only real, pure spot in the universe. We've been very smug about our superior health record. Made our visitors go through a complete health examination before they entered our city. And now, we're the ones everyone is afraid of. We, the pure ones, are the source of contamination. I'm sure there's a logical explanation for this, Doctor, and we're going to find it.
Graven.
Oh, yes, Darn, what is it?
Well, I know you don't like to be interrupted when you're in the lab, but I thought this was important.
Is it about Euphoria?
Yes. The city is quarantined. No one can enter or leave without an official Space Patrol permission.
Oh, that's not so good.
Not good. It means we won. We never dreamed our indestructible germs would be that effective.
Yes, but what about our agents? They'll have to stay in the city now.
That's right. I never thought of that. If they have to stay there, they may come down with the sickness.
Better if they do, then they won't attract attention. If they get panicky and try to escape, they'll be caught and expose us.
Then hadn't we better shut down the lab and leave Venus City?
No. Venus City will be the headquarters of the scientists trying to stop the epidemic at Euphoria. We'll stay here so we'll know every move they make.
We won't need this germ-breeding apparatus anymore. Euphoria is completely contaminated. We have to get rid of it.
You amaze me. We've spent 2 years perfecting this culture process. 1 year building it and another creating a new type of bacteria. And you want to destroy it.
But we achieved our purpose. Dr. Kendall is ruined professionally.
You know, if this disease ever gets a name, it'll probably be called Kendallitis. We've got something big here, something important. What works at Euphoria can work in other cities.
You mean you want to infect other cities, too?
Perhaps. Just think, Stan. You and I both hate Dr. Kendall for getting us discharged from Terra University faculty.
Yes, and we have the right to hate him.
But we've done him more harm than he ever did us. So let's together. We can become rich and famous.
Oh.
We've produced an indestructible germ right here in our laboratory. Suppose we keep working and find a way of destroying this new type of bacteria.
You mean develop a cure for the disease?
Of course. Then we can start an epidemic all over the solar system. Where the smartest scientists can begin to make headway, we step in and offer a remedy.
Yes. Then we'll be heroes. We'll be the scientists that saved the universe from Kendallitis.
That's right,
Oh, wait a minute. Suppose somebody beats us to it, discovers the cure before we do.
Oh, that's very unlikely.
Well, frankly, I'm getting worried. Suppose there is an accident here in the lab. Suppose we get infected.
Oh, we've taken every precaution.
I know, but an automatic process is very complex. Something might go wrong when we're not here. The germs might escape.
I've taken care of that. If there's any leakage in the apparatus, the warning bell will ring. If we're here, we can correct the trouble. If we're not, the entire lab will be seared with fire. Not even these germs will survive that.
Suppose you're right.
But nothing's going to happen. Now, let's start working on a cure.
Report to them. Is the commander with you?
No, sir. I thought he was here picking up some of those bacteria samples.
Oh, they're in that case, ready for him.
I guess he'll be along pretty quick. So you finally isolated the bacteria,
Yes. It seems to be a new variety. It has an amazing resistance to ordinary germ-killing chemicals. In fact, it almost seems to thrive on them.
Wow.
I've never seen a single type of bacteria that can endure such a wide range of adverse conditions.
No wonder you can't stop the epidemic.
And it's getting worse. Our industries are being forced to shut down for lack of workers.
Well, what if it spreads to other cities, Doctor?
I'm hoping that the scientists at Venus City will be able to find a way of destroying the bacteria without harming human beings.
Well, they've done it with nearly all the other diseases.
Yes, but over a period of centuries. We scientists have been boasting of the fact that we found permanent cures for all the serious diseases. Now we've got this new one. It's as though nature were telling us we're becoming a little too conceited, little men.
Oh, there you are, Happy. I thought I'd wait here with Dr. Kendall, sir.
Good. Doctor, do you have those germ specimens? Right here, Commander.
Fine. I'm doubling the security guard here at Euphoria. One of your citizens jumped quarantine.
What?
Employee at the atmosphere washing plant, Lyle Vosper, left the city without permission.
Was he infected?
Yes. The full report to the hospital. Instead, he managed to steal a doctor's credentials and escape in a circus car. He's believed to be heading for Venus City.
He's got to be stopped before he spreads his sickness.
I know. I've alerted Venus City Space Patrol. Happy and I are blasting off for there right away. Get the bacteria specimens.
Vosper, what are you doing here?
Where's Miss Baby?
She's not here right now. How did you get out of Euphoria?
I had to.
I've got the sickness. And you came directly here to our lab. You fool. Come in so I can shut the door.
Fine. You and Miss Baden have got German.
What makes you think we have a cure?
You've got to have. She told me nothing would happen. She said all I had to do was put some of the bacteria in the final stage of the atmosphere purifying system, then come back here after the epidemic started.
Yes, but we underestimated the strength of the bacteria. We didn't expect the quarantine to be swept down the city so quickly.
You've got to help me. I'm sick, Stein, sick!
Go up, be control yourself.
Help me, Stein, help me!
I'll help you. That'll keep you quiet.
What's going on in here, Scarn?
Oh, Miss Braden, it's Vosper. He's done quarantine. I have to hit him to keep him quiet.
Oh, did you have to hit him that hard? He's hurt. Oh, well, lock him up till he comes to. And we'll decide what to do.
Stop the car here, Happy, and turn off the light.
Yes.
From here we can watch this whole row of buildings.
Which one is Buster into?
We can't be sure, Happy. Our agent trailed into this neighborhood and then lost him. I'm pretty sure he hasn't left the area.
We have to come out to get something to eat.
Yes, if someone will bring him food. If we watch carefully, we might be able to get a tip off.
You're right, Scarn. We'll have to dispose of Buster. He's alive. We can start an epidemic here before we're ready. The Space Patrol will find him. Come on, let's get him.
Lockout. Look, the door's unlocked. Oh, Wasper's gone. Somebody let him out.
Don't be a fool.
But Wasper couldn't have broken out by himself, not in his condition.
He did, though. Look at the marks on the inside of the door. You couldn't have gone very far. Go on.
Commander, look. Somebody just came out of that building.
He seems hurt. Look how he's staggering.
He's coming right toward our car.
He's in bad shape, Happy. Come on.
Help me. He's falling over. Help me. I've got him.
Easy. Let's have a look at him.
Smoking rockets. It's Vosper.
Vosper.
Who is he?
We're space patrolmen. We want to help you. Tell us what happened.
I'm not going to tell you anything. I'll see to that. Look out, Commander. Commander!
That goes for you. I'll fix you for meddling.
Son, who are they?
It's the Space Patrol. But I've taken care of them.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. How does he do it, Space Patrollers? He sees flying saucers in the sky. He sees a robot man on the wall. He sees the planet Saturn floating in the clouds.
You bet I do. And sometimes up there in space, I see a rocket ship and speeding jet cars.
How does he do it, gang? What magic power does this boy possess?
No magic power to it. Magic space pictures. That's my secret.
Yes, sir, Space Patrollers. That's the secret. Magic space pictures. And with these wonderful pictures, you can see flying saucers and robot men in the sky, too. You can even see pictures of Tonga in the sky, and Major Robertson, and Carol. Pictures so big and clear, they practically look real.
It's fun, gang, and it's easy. You just stare at the magic space pictures, look up into the sky, and zowie, the magic goes to work. There in the sky, you see the magic space picture real big and real clear.
There are 24 different magic space pictures, and you get one inside of every new package of checks. So start collecting those wonderful magic space pictures now.
Swap them with your pals. Be the first one in your gang to have the whole set of 24.
Here's all you do. Just get the new packages of rice checks or wheat checks with Buzz Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside and the amazing magic space picture on the inside. And now back to our Space Patrol adventure, the Industructible Germ. The community of Euphoria on the planet Venus has been famous as the healthiest city in the solar system. But a mysterious epidemic has struck suddenly, and medical authorities are powerless to treat the strange malady. The cause of the epidemic is the super bacteria developed in a laboratory in Venus City and introduced into Euphoria's atmosphere plant by a confederate of Lachlan Braden and Mondo Skarn. When the Confederate Lyle Vosper contracted the sickness, he fled from the quarantine city and came to Lachlan Braden's lab. There, he was severely beaten by Skarn. He managed to escape and was found by Buzz and Happy. But while the space patrolmen were questioning Vosper, Skarn surprised them and knocked them unconscious before they could defend themselves.
They were trying to get Vosper to talk.
Did he?
I don't think so.
Then we're safe. All we've got to do is take Vosper back inside the lab building before these space patrolmen come too.
You aren't going to leave them here.
Why not? Take their weapons away from them.
Oh.
And rob them.
Rob them?
Go on. Take their watches and whatever valuables they have on them. I'm going to make it look like a plain robbery. With Vosper in our hands, they'll never be able to prove differently. Hurry up before someone comes.
Happy, you all right? Not too good, but I'll live. Did you see who hit us? Very clearly, sir. Hey, he was a big guy, though.
There was a woman with him. I heard her voice just before I passed on. How's Vosper?
Vosper? Come on. Vosper's gone.
I saw all of our weapons.
And my wallet. And watch.
It's a cover-up, Happy.
Whoever hit us wanted to make sure Vosper didn't identify him. That means Vosper was attacked by someone he knew.
Mm-hmm. Somebody in that building.
We're in no condition to begin and investigate right now. By this time, they've probably taken Vosper to another part of the city. The space phone a couple of agents to watch this neighborhood, then they'll go to headquarters for a little medical.
We're going to have to take Vosper away from the lab to dispose of him. The space patrolman may have seen him come out of this building. That means they'll send someone here to see.
Well, what about bacteria process equipment?
Leave it just as it is. Unlock the door and get Vosper. We'll carry him out the back way.
He's gone again.
The window.
Yeah, he pried the bars apart and removed the plexiglass. What are we going to do?
We're going to find him, of course.
Good morning, Commander.
Morning, Happy. How do you feel?
Still a little groggy. The doctor says I'll probably have to wear these bandages for a week.
Both of us are looking as though we made a crash landing.
Anything new from the lab, Commander?
We made a few tests on those bacteria samples, but they merely confirmed what Dr. Kendall found out. The new type of bacteria with amazing resistance, discovered, strangely enough, in the least likely place of all, the euphoria. The authorities are constantly making bacteria tests of air, water, food, everything.
Yeah. You'd think a new type of bacteria would be discovered quicker than a six-legged elephant at a dog show.
Commander Corey here. Oh, yes, Sergeant. Who? All right, send him in. There's a visitor, Happy. Lyle Vosper.
Vosper?
At least that's the name he gave Sergeant Clary at the reception desk. Yes, come in. You are the Lyle Vosper who jumped quarantine at Euphoria?
Yes, Commander.
And the same man we found last night on Pollock Street?
I don't recognize you. I'm pretty dazed.
But you seemed to be ill last night, so ill you could hardly talk.
Yes, I know.
Happy, would you say this is the same man we saw last night?
Well, it sure looks like it. He looks a lot healthier.
Perhaps we should find out who his doctor is.
I haven't been to a doctor. I guess I just feel sickly.
We'll go into that later. Vosper, why did you leave Euphoria? You knew the city was under quarantine.
I know, Commander. I was frightened. I knew I was coming down with that sickness.
And yet you endangered the lives of others.
Yes, I know I was wrong. But jumping quarantine isn't my worst offense. I'm here to give myself up and tell you the whole story.
Let's hear it.
I was sent to Euphoria to start that epidemic.
You started?
Yes. I was hired by a woman named Lockwood Braden to plant the bacteria in that city.
Well, why would anyone want to do that?
Lockwood Braden and her assistant, Mondo Stein, wanted revenge against Dr. Kendall. He got them fired from Terra University a few years ago, and he discovered they were embezzling university funds.
And it was Starn who followed you last night and beat up Cadet Happy and me.
That's right. They planned to do away with me, but I got away with it.
You know where they got this new type of bacteria?
By artificial selection. They have an automatic breeder. When they get several million bacteria in a sealed vat, they add a weak solution of poison.
And they let the survivors multiply and add a stronger poison solution.
Exactly. They did this again and again with thousands of generations of bacteria. Each time they got a stronger variety. Germs that could stand heat and cold.
Smoking rockets, how long did it take?
About a year. You see, these bacteria divide every 20 minutes. They had 25,000 generations in 1 year. I heard Lockwood Braden say once that was equivalent to nearly 1 million years in the life of the human race.
All that effort creating an epidemic just to get revenge against one man.
I didn't know it would be this bad, Commander. Honestly, I didn't.
That doesn't excuse you, Vosper. However, your coming here may help to keep the sickness from spreading. Dr. Kendall is here in Venus City. I'm going to send you to him for an examination, and you'll be returned to Euphoria under Space Patrol custody.
Yes, sir.
Happy turned Vosper over to a guard, and we'll go pick up Lockwood Braden.
The door's locked, sir.
Locker and Storm decided to get out of the city after Vosper got away. Let's have a look. Use your electronic key, Happy.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go in.
Well, here's the lab, sir.
Take it easy, Happy. There may be someone in there. I'll go first. Nobody here, but the equipment's working.
Oh, look at all those vats and tubes and stuff.
Probably the bacteria incubator system.
And they're still growing those germs.
Yes. There's probably billions and billions of them in those vats, ready to be turned loose in other cities.
We gotta smash them all to bits right now.
Start an epidemic right here in Venus City.
Oh, that's right.
This is a job for a bacteriologist, Happy. Don't touch a thing.
That's very good advice, Commander.
I suppose you're a Locker of Braden.
That's right. And may I ask why you're intruding here in my private property?
We've talked to Lyle Vosper. He told us how that epidemic started in Euphoria.
Lyle Vosper? Who's he?
The man you hired to put these bacteria in the atmosphere plant. The man your assistant, Monda Spahn, followed last night.
Really, Commander, I don't know who this Vosper is, but he's an outrageous liar. Actually, I'm trying to develop a cure for that disease.
Very interesting. Where do you get the bacteria to experiment on?
What?
You'd better come along with me to headquarters, Locker. Where's Spahn?
Spahn? I don't know.
Commander, there's a man looking through the glass there in the next room. He's motioning to the locker.
Oh, that's Mr. Spahn now. He's in the control room. I'll get him.
Now, just a minute, Locker. Stay here. I'll get him. Stop her, Happy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, don't shut that door. This way. Open this door.
Commander, your authority doesn't carry much weight around here. And your meddling into our affairs is very unfortunate for the people of Venus City.
Commander, what does he mean?
Watch what happens when I throw this switch.
Don, what are you doing?
I'm building up gas pressure in the process control system. In a few moments, the vents will start to burst, and the bacteria will freeze.
Listen to reason.
And a few moments later, the entire lab will blow up. Germs will be scattered into the air of the city. But you won't have to worry, Corey. The explosion will take care of you.
What are we going to do, sir?
They left the control room. Quick, use your electronic